Finish loading would be great. Okay. Even TikTok is like, it's Monday. I don't want to. Come on. You can do it. Get it together. Yes. No. Maybe. Okay. There it goes. Jeez. Okay. That's not what it did. Yep. Okay. My God. Good morning. Hi, Dragon's Kelt. Hi, Yami. Hello, Justin. Audrey was first. Oh, yeah, I have community gift on TikTok now. Yay. Good morning, Rib Tip. She's so cute. I can't. She's so cute. I'm having a ball. Good morning, Rude Mark. Everybody, let's start doing all the good things, please, while we're sitting here. Tap that screen up. Oh, let me give you your little bar. Your bar's not on. I don't want to make a supersonic man out of you. It was a good day, Iowa. Good morning. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Manny. Good morning, everybody. Lanatty. Make sure we start doing that. Mia! Hi, Political Mom. Good morning, Spirit. I'm doing well. Good morning. Good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. I appreciate you guys being here. It is Monday. Happy Monday. How is everybody doing? It's midterm Monday. We are in the primary season, so we are getting going, guys. And yes, we are going to cover SCOTUS decisions. It was quite a good day for us today, and we will talk about Trump being very, very upset about that. As we get started here on TikTok, if you could please tap that screen. We like to hit 50,000 likes before the top of the hour, but I've seen you guys do 100,000 likes per hour, so I know you guys can do it. So let's get those fingers working for the week. I'm back, and whoopsh, it's time to get going again. So start tapping. Share the live out. You can repost it. You can add it to your story. Do not spam the copy link button, but you can like hold it down and share it to like 5 of your friends or group chats, whatever you have going on. Just helps push us out onto the algorithm. Do your daily heart me if you have not done so. That little heart should be gold. And if it is not, what are you doing? And if it says follow, what are you doing? Make sure you're following me. Send your little daily heart me. It does give you access to stickers in the chat of my face and other things that I say that you get to enjoy here, so please do that. You guys completed out the roses goal. You guys completed out the community heart goal. I now have this It's Match Time. If there's an issue with it, I hate when they put new gifts because I can never tell if it's something you can do or not, but I would appreciate it. And I also have my little, I have my community gift now. So if you want to send ones of me, little cross-eyed, worried face me, you can do that as well. And if you're not seeing it in the, it's in the exclusive section too, it should show up, that you guys can send that out. I would appreciate if you did so. If you're watching over on YouTube, hello, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button for me as you come in. Just helps push us onto the algorithm over there on YouTube. Guys, do not forget to subscribe. You can also become a member. You can send donations, you can send jewels, and you can send super chats for when the chat starts going too fast, but you have a message you would really like me to read. Not only can you donate to me, whether it's a good message or a hate message, but you can send me that to do that. I would appreciate it. And if you're watching on Twitch, hello, my lovelies. I see you over there. I know you guys, most of you are following, but if you're not, please make sure that you are following me. You guys know you can send bits. You can become a member over there if you have not already. Again, gives you access to emotes that are the same as the stickers in TikTok, mostly of my face. So you guys can do excuse me. You guys can do that. I had like air puff up in my throat. That was weird. So you guys can do that. I would appreciate it. And I have my 100 goal that I have every single day. Guys, this is my job. This is what I do for a living. This is how I pay my bills. So I would appreciate it if you guys could help with that. We crowdfund here and we pay for women's labor. So $1 train, $2 train. Let's start working on that goal. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all in the link tree in my bio on all platforms. So you should be able to find it so that we can get that goal down. I appreciate it. Holy, what is that? Oh, okay, that's my thing. Stop it. My notifications are all out of order. Why are you sending me notifications from yesterday? Okay. And we shall get started. First off, we are going to do what we always do on Midterm Monday. And we are going to cover the primary calendar, for this week. That is what we are going to do. So let me check, make sure that I'm covering today. And any for, I doubt they're going to do any, yeah, because of that. And that'll be for next week, which I will probably be here for Midterm Monday next week, but then I go on vacation because I'm flying out on the 7th. So I will be here on the 6th, but that'll be the last day you see me for a week, and then I'll be back the week after that. But we will go into this. As we get started, though, let's give a huge W to Raina, please. W's to Raina for the $5 for celebrating 15 days of sobriety. Love you, Monty. I love you too, Raina, and I am proud of you every single day. Every single day, I know that it is, you wake up and you commit to that fight. And so all of us in this community are so proud of you, Raina. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we appreciate you always being in here and supporting, even if it's not monetary. I see your comments and we love you. Okay, let's do this. Let's get into the calendar, shall we? Okay. June 30th. I'm excited as a Coloradan. Here we go. Tomorrow, June 30th, Alaska Gateway School District recall election. If you are in Arkansas, you have a House of Representatives District 44 special primary runoff special election tomorrow. Colorado statewide primary tomorrow. I have my Yo Vote sticker. I voted. My husband is taking the ballots today. Dropping those off right now. I will get an email and a text because we use ballot tracks in the state of Colorado to know that they have acquired it and also when it is counted. So W, if you live in Colorado, that primary is tomorrow. Colorado State Senate District 17, you have a special primary tomorrow. Colorado State Senate District 21, you have a special primary tomorrow. Colorado State Senate District 29, you have a special primary tomorrow. And Colorado State Senate District 31, you also have a primary tomorrow. And the last one we have is South Carolina local elections tomorrow as well. Okay? So make sure you're paying attention. Make sure if you have not voted that you do so. Dems can't win with it. I need to decide if I fill out Dem or Republican. So Josiah, I had the same thing because I'm registered independent in Colorado. And the thing was, though, that the Republican ballot was a lot of unopposed. Like, it was a lot of unopposed. I want to vote against Marx. Right. Yeah. I mean, you either have Mr. I believe he thinks that there's a ring of trafficking children in our state legislature, or you have tried to secede from the state of Colorado, Barbara Kirkmeyer. So I guess whatever choice you want to make there. I went with the Democratic ballot this year personally. You don't have to do what I do, but yeah, the shares are low. Me is yelling that the shares are low. You guys need to get your shares up. So make sure you are doing all of the things, please, to get the shares up as we continue on. Okay. So we got that done. Let's get into SCOTUS, shall we? Shall we? Do you guys want it? I don't know if you want it enough. Do you want it enough on this Monday? I'm not sure if you do. That's the right number, right? I don't have to do the math. I'm still going to do the math on that just because I can't help myself to make sure that I'm all right, but I trust you. Yep. Can I get W's to Peter, please, for the $8.53 for saying, you know, the right way to start Monday, and a bunch of crabs. Oh my God, I have crabs. Thank you so much, W's to Peter, for that. Gets us to our favorite number here on this platform, which Blanche said he's not going to do anything about for other people, so I don't care anymore. 8647. Thank you so much, Peter, for getting us there and for being my crab king, giving me all the crabs every single day. I appreciate it. Okay, let's get into SCOTUS. Get into some of the ones. What do I have here? It's like I have some of them pulled up still. Okay. Get into some of the AP articles. We'll get into some of the decisions, but I'm not going to read through them. You can definitely do that on your own. Ari has informed me that they have said that they are going to issue the rest of the opinions tomorrow. So I'm going to be a nervous wreck for the entirety of today into tonight. I am just going to try to distract myself by catching up on Love Island because I am way behind, and hope that that just quells the anxiety enough, because that's going to be really fun for us, because that means birthright citizenship is coming tomorrow. All right, but in way of this, what Supreme Court did is they heard arguments. Well, not heard arguments. They are deciding which cases they are going to take up, and the deep dive tonight. Yes. They are deciding which cases they are going to take up in October when they come back in session. This will not be one of them. For the second time, Supreme Court rejects Trump's push to toss $5 million verdict in E. Jean Carroll sexual abuse case. The Supreme Court on Monday rejected a push by President Donald Trump to throw out a jury's finding that he sexually abused the writer E. Jean Carroll at a New York City department store in the mid-1990s and later defamed her. I almost said 1900s. The High Court declined to take up the case in a brief, unexplained order. As is typical, there were no noted dissents. Trump's lawyers had argued that allegations leading to the $5 million verdict were propped up by highly inflammatory evidentiary rulings, including those that allowed the testimony of two other women who accused Trump of sexual abuse decades ago. Trump has denied all three women's allegations. Trump's attorneys argued the judge broke federal evidence rules in the case. They framed it as a distraction from Trump's unique duties as president, though the verdict came before his return to the White House. That's not what they did. It was not rejected. Sweetheart. Zeke. They did. They absolutely did. Would you like me to go to SCOTUS blog? Sure. Let's do this together. I love homework on the fly. Let's do this. Ready? Okay. Let's try to find their... Let's see, this was their orders list. Okay. I have to find... Certiorari, which I probably mispronounced, excuse me. Certiorari denied. Thank you, Ari. Trump, president of U.S. v. Carroll E. Jean, denied. So they did deny it. That's kind of how that works. Okay, I'll leave that page up right here as well, since we're not good with sources. Okay. Back here. Of course they cry, but this decision comes as the court hands down opinions in the biggest cases of the term, many keys to Trump agenda, which we are going to get. Certiorari? Is it certiorari? Certiorari? Thank you, Chris. I apologize. I want to say sir. Yes, we are going to get to that. So, Let's get to Carol's lawyer's response to that, which was, quote, today's Supreme Court decision affirms once and for all the jury's unanimous verdict that President Donald J. Trump sexually assaulted and defamed E. Jean Carroll. His multiple efforts to appeal that verdict have failed, and today's ruling ends his quest to avoid accountability for his actions. No, denied to listen to the case. They're not taking it up, Zeke. If they're not taking it up, the lower court's ruling stands. You just think they're going to decide to take it up later? Why would they do that? That's cute. You guys can pretzel. The cope is insane. Sure. Okay. And then let's get to his truth. Now, unfortunately, I don't have them separated, so we're just going to go to each one as they come, to get to them. Okay. And he lies in his own truth. That's funny. Surprisingly, the Supreme Court declined to review a fake case brought against me by a woman I never met. Decades-old celebrity photo line standing with her husband does not count, except it does because you met her and you confused her with your wife, Marla. You remember that? You remember that? You met her and you confused her with your wife, Marla. I will continue the fight against the weaponization and lawfare case against me. I don't know how you do that, including the ridiculous claim of defamation with all my power and strength. He doesn't have any. The courts have now ruled. This case is really against the United States of America and all it stands for. How is a case involving sexual abuse of him personally have anything to do with the United States or us? Why do you guys keep taking on his personality and his story? Why do you guys keep doing that? And all it stands for, and should never be allowed to happen to another president or candidate to be. It should happen to all of them who are accused of sexual assault. Absolutely. New York State created a law for an instant speck of time going back many decades in order to wrongfully nab me. No, it was tailor-made, and this injustice cannot be allowed to stand. No, it was for the Catholic Church, specifically the Boy Scouts of America, going against people who had harmed them. So I'm glad to know that he is against victims. We're shocked? No, nobody's shocked here. All right, in another one that was denied, we will talk about that one. Let's do right here. The Supreme Court won't revive Alan Dershowitz's $300 million lawsuit against CNN. I mean, the U.S. fucks a lot of people. That's true. That's true. The Supreme Court refused Monday to revive a $300 million defamation lawsuit filed against CNN over its coverage of a prominent attorney's remarks made while defending President Donald Trump during his 2020 impeachment. Remember, Dershowitz was his personal lawyer during the 2020 impeachment. Who else was Dershowitz the personal lawyer of? I forget. It's hard for me to remember. Does anybody in the community remember who Dershowitz was also the personal attorney of, not just Trump? Does anybody remember? It's a name. It's a big name. Nobody knows? Epstein. It was Epstein. Yes, it was. The majority declined to take up the case in a brief, unexplained order. Justices Neil Gorsuch and Clarence Thomas dissented. Shocker, calling on the court to reconsider the legal standards for public figures who claim defamation. Alan Dershowitz said the news network aired only a portion of the comment made during his defense of the president, distorting his meaning to make him look like he'd lost his mind, according to court documents. The network said that multiple outlets had interpreted his remarks in a similar way, and Dershowitz couldn't show CNN was trying to mischaracterize what he said. In his appeal, Dershowitz had urged the court to reconsider New York Times company V. Sullivan, the landmark First Amendment case that made it harder for public figures to win libel lawsuits because it requires proof that an outlet knowingly published something false or showed a reckless disregard for the truth. Dershowitz, a retired Harvard Law School professor and legal commentator, was part of Trump's defense team during his impeachment trial over allegations that Trump wanted political favors from Ukraine in return for U.S. military aid. Trump was acquitted by the Senate. Dershowitz responded to a question at one point by saying, quote, the only thing that would make a quid pro quo unlawful is if the quo were somehow illegal. Providing arms to Ukraine, he said, isn't illegal. He alleged that CNN only played what he said moments later. Every public official that I know believes that his election is in the public interest, and mostly they are right. Your election is in the public interest, and if the president does something which he believes will help him get elected in the public interest, that cannot be the kind of quid pro quo that results in impeachment. But apparently it was. Ignorance is not a virtue. Fired. That's why we're reading facts right now. Dershowitz said the edit made it seem like he was arguing a president could avoid impeachment for illegal acts as long as he was doing it to get reelected, a concept his original suit called preposterous and foolish on its face. CNN countered by saying it did air his full remarks during its live coverage and invited him on twice more to expand on his meaning. Lower courts tossed out the suit, finding that Dershowitz hadn't shown CNN acted with actual malice in its reporting, making it fall short of the standards set by New York Times company V. Sullivan. And SCOTUS just said, go away. So there is that. I don't think Trump responded about Dershowitz because I don't think he cares, to be honest, what happens to other people, as we are not shocked. All right. Let's see. Did I get anything on that one? I didn't, actually. I did want to talk about, I don't have the headline for it, but one of the cases that I thought was really important, I wanted to ask MAGA about. Do you think it is okay for the government to get surveillance information and surveillance footage of you without a warrant simply because that information is being held by a third-party entity such as Google? Just want you guys to answer that question. And as we sit here, guys, keep tapping that screen. You're doing fantastic. Sitting at 30,000 likes. I appreciate it with the 96 of you in here. Let's make sure we are doing all the good things, okay? While we are doing that, if you're over there on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button for sure. Surgeon Dershowitz should probably also be in jail, but you know. Chris says no. Rat says no. Any Trumplicans, any conservatives who believe that you should be able to have your footage, even if it is being held by a third party? Okay. Again, I don't have it right here, but you can look it up. They ruled that no, they cannot do that. That is a Fourth Amendment violation, unlawful search and seizure, and they need to have a warrant to be able to access that data. We love that. The Constitution wins once again. So thank you so much, SCOTUS, for that decision. Oh, Graffiti Galaxy, thank you so much. Oh, speaking of, actually, Graffiti Galaxy just reminded me. Guys, it is a new week, so my gift gallery is refreshed. What is my ranking? I'm at C5 again this week. So, if we could start getting those accomplished, I've got the finger hearts, I've got the donuts, hat, mustache, hand hearts, and then we start getting into the more expensive ones that I know are harder to hit, and that's why we don't hit them. But I would appreciate it if we could work on those. If you have a chunk of change on TikTok that you're willing to spare, let's start completing things in my gift gallery. If you click on my profile picture, it says C5 gift gallery. Let's start doing that. Yeah, we're having issues with that with Flock. That's going to be interesting. Thank you, Graffiti. It's going to be interesting to watch those cases eventually go to court as well. Oh my God, Mia! Thank you so much for the meteor shower. Thank you. Oh, I love you. All right, let's get to one that I was worried about this case. I listened to the oral arguments when they did this case, and I was very, very worried based off of Alito's questioning with textualism, with the use of the term on, the word on, and on election day. I was actually kind of worried about how they were going to rule in this case. But again, luckily, the Constitution strikes once again. Oh my gosh! Scotty, thank you. Thank you so much. Can I get W's for Scotty for the diving whale? Thank you so much. I love that sound, by the way, too. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But we are, no pants GIF is wild, hubbub. We are happy with this decision. The Supreme Court rules states can count late arriving mailed ballots rejecting Trump-led challenge. The Supreme Court on Monday ruled that states can count ballots that arrive after Election Day, a persistent target of President Donald Trump. The 5-4 decision rejected, thank you so much, Anne, for all the jewels. I appreciate you. The 5-4 decision rejected a Republican-led attack on laws in more than half the states and the District of Columbia that permit mailed ballots to arrive and be counted some number of days after the election, provided they're... Now, Republicans, you need to listen. I'm going to repeat this sentence because you need to listen, okay? Permits mailed ballots to arrive and be counted some number of days after the election, provided they are postmarked by Election Day. Okay. That's why you're able to pay your fucking rent late, because your check was in the mail, right? The check is in the mail before then. That's why when they pay you that way, they're allowed to get away with it because it was postmarked before the point where it would be violation of law. Right? The outcome spares officials the headache of changing their ballot rules just a few months before the 2026 midterm congressional elections. In just over half those states, the more forgiving deadlines apply only to ballots cast by military and overseas voters. Now he'll have the post office not postmark them. I don't know how he would get that accomplished before midterms, though, Chris. Like, I don't know how he would get that accomplished. Justice... Thank you so much. Is it Law Relief? Thank you so much for the fireworks. Justice Amy Coney Barrett wrote the court's majority opinion, joined by Chief Justice John Roberts and the 3 liberal justices. Federal laws setting a single election day, quote, leave open when those votes must be received, Barrett wrote. Congress could change the law, she said, if varied deadlines for ballot receipts similarly call for a national solution. The American people must choose it through their elected representatives. And that's all we've ever said. If you don't like the laws and the way that they're structured, and the fact that we have a separation, the fact that the Constitution allows for the states to come up with how they run their elections, okay, as long as it follows underneath the rule, Congress has to change it, and Congress has not changed it. So that is an issue that you guys are going to have. It's an issue you guys have with a lot of the laws that we have in the country, is that you don't like them. That's fine. Congress has to change them, and they have yet to do so. Per the ruling, as far as I was reading, and let's see if they cover that, is that the rule specifically in Mississippi, that's the case that they were doing. The rule in Mississippi about as long as it's postmarked by election day, it can be read and returned no later than 5 days, okay? Like they receive it no later than 5 days after the election, it can be counted, does not contradict existing federal election law. That is what the court ruled. The legal challenge was part of Trump's broader attack on most mail balloting, which he has said breeds fraud despite strong evidence to the contrary and years of experience in numerous states. Trump has repeatedly claimed that his loss to Biden in the festival in 2020 resulted from BS. Remember, we are using BS instead of the F word. Resulted from BS, even though more than 60 court decisions and his own attorney general said that argument had no merit. They're saying what Trump said, so let's get into what Trump said, because he's very, very upset today. In light of the tremendous loss in the Supreme Court today concerning voters' rights and the fact that people's votes, people's votes are allowed to be counted long after an election is over. That is incorrect. It said 5 days. Mississippi's rule is 5 days after. It is more important than ever to pass the Save America Act, which is 1, all voters must show photo ID identification. 2, all voters must show proof of citizenship. We already do that. 3, no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military employment, or travel. What's his excuse? Because he votes by mail. What's his excuse? No? Okay. Cool. Travel. He travels. It's travel. There is no excuse for a politician or otherwise to be against the above 3 requirements. There is only one reason to oppose cheating. The House of Representatives has approved this vital act 3 times. The United States Senate seems unable to do so because it's unpopular. In a time when there is a powerful communist movement taking place in our country, one more dangerous than World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, or September 11th. He does know Pearl Harbor was the beginning of our entry into World War II, right? Does he think that one more dangerous than World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, or September 11th? All Democrats and our 5 Republican Senate holdouts, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Tom Tillis, Bill Cassidy, and Mitch McConnell, must vote to save our country. This man might be dead, so I don't know why he's calling on Mitch McConnell. He thinks it's a Ben Affleck movie. He probably does, Raina, to save our country. There can be no more excuses. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The excuse is that it's not popular, so it's not going to get done, Mr. President. Okay, so let me see. I wanted to bring up, again, Kyle Cheney. We love Kyle Cheney. Kyle Cheney always gives us the actual opinion, 48 pages worth, so that you can read it. I will always have that for you guys. I try as much as I can for most of the things that we talk about, but I just wanted to read this highlighted part specifically. Nothing in the federal election day statutes requires ballots to be received by election day. That was the ruling. Again, this was written by Barrett, concurred by with Justice Roberts and the 3 liberal justices. So Stop your crying, he's your king. Are you... Oh, Christopher, are you talking to the MAGA maybe? Because, like, they're upset today. They're going to be coping today. It's going to be a hard time for them today. Okay. I think that was all I had on that one. On that decision. Because then... Yes. Okay. So now we get to kind of a contradictory argument. It makes sense when you start reading into it, but let's, we'll get into it here. Let's see. Supreme Court rules Trump cannot fire Fed member Lisa Cook, grants him more power over other independent agencies, okay? So they're going to talk about this here. The Supreme Court on... Can you not? Okay. The Supreme Court on Monday delivered a setback to President Donald Trump, rejecting his attempt to fire Federal Reserve Board member Lisa Cook, while in a separate case giving him a freer hand to exert control over other hitherto independent federal agencies. That case they're talking about is Trump v. Slaughter. She was in charge of worked in a position in the FTC. They did allow that firing, overturning Humphrey's executor, overturning 90 years of precedent. It's very interesting, but let's talk about it. The two decisions, issued at the same time and both offered by Chief Justice John Roberts, together marked another example of the conservative majority court pushing back on one aspect of Trump's broad exertion of executive power while giving him the green light on another. Though Trump may not fire Cook for now, the court allowed him to remove a federal member of the Federal Trade Commission, Rebecca Kelly Slaughter. In the latter case, the court overturned a key 1935 Supreme Court ruling called Humphrey's Executor v. United States, which upheld restrictions on the president's power to fire FTC members. The court was divided differently in each case. In Cook, the vote was 5-4, with the court's liberals joining the majority, while they dissented in Slaughter, which was 6-3 on ideological lines. Yeah, it boils down to cause given versus no cause given. Only Roberts and fellow conservative Justice Brett Kavanaugh were in the majority in both cases. In the Cook case, Roberts rejected the Trump administration's contention that the president's firings of Cook for cause over allegations of mortgage fraud, which she denies, could not be reviewed in court and that she could stay in office while contesting the decision. So because he's trying to fire her based off of something that has yet to be proven in court, he does not have proper cause to fire her. Quote, to accept any of those arguments would in effect transform the Federal Reserve's for-cause protection into at-will employment. So that's what they wrote in the decision. Such a step would be out of step with the statute Congress enacted and our nation's tradition of central banking protected from political interference. In a statement, Cook welcomed the decision, saying that Trump's actions were an attempt to remove me on a manufactured pretext because I refused to bow to political pressure and continue to set interest rates based only on what would best serve the American people. Trump could still seek to fire her and indicated in a Truth Social post that he will. We'll get into that in just a minute. The court, in effect, created a Federal Reserve exception to its general view, long favored by conservatives, suspicious of what term in federal bureaucratic deep state that restrictions on the president's power to fire members of federal agencies imposed by Congress. Our Constitution creates 3 branches, but only one president, Roberts wrote in the Slaughter ruling. Subordinates who exercise the president's power are subject to removal by him. Then and only then they can remain accountable to the president and the president to the people. So I think part of the difference too, I will say, like, it's definitely cause versus no cause, but they're also they're really trying to like separate the Fed as independent. We know that the other agencies are meant to be independent as well, but they are also there to kind of see the will of the president and the executive branch be done. So it's as if they're doing that as well. While the FTC ruling only directly affects Slaughter, whom Trump fired in March of 2025, the logic applies to other agencies with similar restrictions on the president's firings without cause. So let's get into his response on that first, I think. I think that's the order I had it in. Guys, when SCOTUS cases come out, I have to hurry up and figure out how I want to do it. So it's really, really fun for me. So he did a couple in way of Slaughter and Cook decisions. So big win just moments ago at the Supreme Court in the Slaughter case, confirming presidential power in our country to remove executive branch officers and agency appointees or representatives under Article 2. This decision was long sought by United States presidents, dating all the way back to the 1930s. It is such an honor to be the sitting president who won this historic and precedented ruling, one of the most important ever given with respect to presidential powers. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And then See, I'll read his Cook one in just a second, but let's read this one. To show the importance of the Slaughter case, 90 years of precedent has been completely and unequivocally overruled, greatly increasing presidential power at a time when it is most needed. President Donald J. Trump. Now let's read his Cook one. The Cook lawsuit having to do with her suitability in sitting on the board of the Federal Reserve was sent back by the Supreme Court on a strictly procedural basis. We will take appropriate action immediately to make sure that someone who has committed wrongdoing will not be making vital decisions concerning the welfare of the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So it's going to go back to the lower court. They're going to have to, according to like law, and then they're going to have to basically decide, was she given proper notice? And the proper notice would be a 2 a.m. Truth from the President of the United States, and was that proper notice? And also, in way of for cause, was the cause correct? Because again, the cause is a claim that has yet to been proven in court. So that is going to be interesting. Let's see. So that's the end of the truths. I don't need that anymore. What was this one? Again, here's the actual, I will post this just so you guys have the actual link to the actual case. I did want to read a piece of Sotomayor's dissent in this. Justice Sotomayor read her dissent from the bench. It reads in part, "Today, this court undoes centuries of political practice and concludes that all three branches of government have been acting in open defiance of the Constitution all of this time. Its conclusion is wrong. In holding otherwise, the court gives the president a power unknown even to the English crown against which the founders revolted, elevating him above his once co-equal branches by transforming a duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed into a license to act in defiance of those very laws." So that's it's a decent dissent. I don't agree with the decision, but that is the decision and that is the law. So that is what we have to deal with. Okay, let me get to, and I have one more thing on SCOTUS and then we will move on. I'm not sure where I'm going to go today. I really have no clue the direction I'm going to go today past SCOTUS, but we're going to listen to, this is CBS News legal analyst Rebecca Roiff talking about the differences between the Slaughter and the Cook case and why they are the way they are.
These multi-member board agencies that Congress creates separate from the president, insulates from the president with these for-cause firing provisions. And there's an age-old case called Humphrey's Executor where the Supreme Court had said, yeah, that's good, that's fine. And what the court did today was to overrule that case and say, no, it's not okay. You cannot create this little fiefdom within the executive branch where the president doesn't have this kind of ability to say, no, I just don't like you, and therefore I'm going to fire you, because that's taking away his central control over the executive branch. And so they can't do that anymore. Rebecca Slaughter can be fired, as can many other members of these sorts of boards, like there's, having to do with consumer protection, having to do with labor issues. All of these boards that Congress has created as independent boards are no longer independent boards in that respect.
But what about the Federal Reserve then? Why then was the Supreme Court's ruling against the president's ability to fire Lisa Cook, the Federal Reserve governor? Okay,
so it's a little bit complicated because what the president tried to do was not to challenge the for-cause provision, because
you guys please keep tapping while we're sitting here on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up.
Fired at will. They can only be fired for cause. And instead of saying, I don't think I should be able to fire everybody, whoever I want to, he said, I get to have full control over what counts as for cause. So that means that I can say, as in this case, hey, I direct my Department of Justice to start an investigation into mortgage fraud. Hey, by the way, she's a suspected criminal. That's for cause. I fire her. And again, I've just started reading the opinion, but I think what the Supreme Court said is that's not enough process for her. You know what? She needs to be able, under this provision, to be able to say, hey, do you really have cause? What is it? And if you're saying I committed mortgage fraud, do you have any proof of that? Which she has persistently denied. And so she was denied this power to contest. And what they're refusing to give the president here is not, they haven't said, oh, the Fed is like categorically different. What they've said is when there is a for-cause provision, it means something. You can't just turn it into at will by essentially making up something bad that this person
a whim, which is what Justice Roberts wrote in the majority.
Right.
So she explained it a lot better than I could. Thank goodness for legal analysts in that case. So yeah, so what she's saying is exactly what Ari is saying, is exactly what the court is saying, is that there are provisions in your employment at the Fed, and you're firing at the Fed. And if you are being fired at the Fed, you have to have cause. You can't just willy-nilly decide to fire people. And so that is why this case is different from Slaughter, is that provision isn't necessarily in there. Okay, since we are continuing with constitutionality, I guess we'll go here. You know, I just be scrolling as I go. This is Republican Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick of Texas in the Oval Office talking about separation of church and state.
That public official must, in writing, explain how that person has violated the Constitution. Because, again, the separation of church and state is not in the Constitution.
I need a record scratch right there. What?
That person has violated the Constitution. Because, again, the separation of church and state is not in the Constitution. And from this day forward, if anyone says that to you, and they're in public office or serve in any agency in any official capacity, they have to point out exactly where you have violated the Constitution, because you have not. And from this day forward, that phrase should have no power over people of all faiths ever again in America.
Thank you.
Okay, he's gonna repeat it. He goes on Fox News and he repeats it. So I am going to let him repeat it. Guys, as we're sitting here, I appreciate you guys working on the taps. I need you guys to keep doing that, please, because I know you guys can do damn better than that. I know it's Monday. I know we haven't been using our fingers over the weekend, which really is disappointing. Your partner should have got all of that benefit. I am training your fingers to do amazing things, and you're not using them over the weekend. You should be warmed up already and ready to go. So let's make sure we're doing that. Also, I have 86.47 left in my goal. Let's start crowdfunding to get that down, okay? Dollar Train, $2 Train, the Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all link trees, all in the link tree in my bio. Let's start working on getting that down, please. I would appreciate it. Remember, this is my job. It's what I do for a living. So let's make sure, that's why I'm tired though. Shut up, Sparky. Let's make sure we are working on that. So we're gonna let Dan Patrick repeat it again.
So any government employee in any agency that has superior authority over someone and accuses them of violation of church and state has to write them a letter and explain to them where it is in the Constitution, because it's not in the Constitution, Charlie. Nice. And so that's what we're fighting for. And we have 12 recommendations to the president. We're going to clarify what the separation of church and state means. You know, the left has used this for 80 years. It was one sentence and one letter out of hundreds of letters that Thomas Jefferson wrote. And the people who use that, Charlie, they either don't know the Constitution, these superintendents, right, these generals in the Army, these people that run healthcare, whatever they are. They don't know it, Charlie, or they do know it, and they're pushing their own agenda to frighten people and quiet them. So any government...
Okay.
I love the Lord.
How about we talk to Gorsuch, who's a liberal, or excuse me, not a liberal, who's a conservative judge. Let's talk to Gorsuch about it.
You make the point also that there is no common religion or cultural heritage of Americans.
Yes.
We are a creedal nation. Creedal because we believe in the creed. We believe in those three founding ideals
yes,
that you mentioned previously. That sentiment, particularly as expressed by you, has received some criticism from conservative circles and drawn backlash, where people have said how wrong you could be about this.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah, surgeon.
And I wonder, how do you respond to those who argue that America did have a common cultural and religious heritage?
Well, first of all, did you know that there is a Catholic signer on the Declaration of Independence?
Right.
Charles Carroll, right? And we were founded in a lot of our colonies for religious pluralism, right? And the opportunity to practice your own faith in your own way. And we were never supposed to be a nation that was about one race or one religion. It was about those ideas. That those things are perfect ideas that speak to every human heart and that unite.
I'm sorry, what was that? What was that?
Supposed to be a nation that was about one race or one religion.
Oh.
It was about those ideas.
Okay.
That those things are perfect ideas that speak to every human heart and that unite us all.
Is there a revisionism as we tell our story now, saying we've always been a white Christian nation?
I just don't see it that way. I mean, America is supposed to be about those ideas, and America is available to each and every one of us. And it's up to each and every one of us to see that those ideas continue to flourish.
But you refute the idea that we came from the same heritage and the same religion.
I mean, we have a First Amendment, for crying out loud. No established religion. Everybody has the freedom of religion. Everybody has the freedom of speech. We are all equal under law, okay? Now, you cannot believe in those ideas. Fair enough. Then we have a problem.
Right.
But those three ideas are something all of us can unite behind.
Okay, well, you don't want to listen to Gorsuch. Okay, you don't want to listen to Gorsuch. I get it. I get it. You don't want to take Gorsuch's word for it. How about this one? Would you take the word of, I don't know, the fucking First Amendment? Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So, what the fuck is Dan Patrick talking about? That's my question. Like, conservatives, are you okay? I am completely fine, as I have always said.
I love the Lord.
As long as you read your book. I have no problem with you guys practicing your religion at all. None. Don't use it to effectuate me and my life, but I love that for you. As long as you see that as a way of you being on the straight and narrow, doing good, following the word of God, and helping out your fellow man, I have no problem with that. I haven't found somebody on my side who does have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is people like Dan Patrick trying to say that it is not in the Constitution that there is separation of church and state, when it is very, very clearly in the Constitution that there is a separation of church and state. It's very, very clear. Why'd they write it in there if they didn't want it to be read that way? Wouldn't keeping religion out of public schools be preventing thereof? No, because that would be the difference. Public schools are run by state boards that get fundings from state governments, so that would still be government entities, right? That's why you don't see, you still see court cases. I think that's dumb to me, but you see court cases in way of private schools, right? Private schools can do what they want. That's why you have Catholic private schools. That's why you have these religious private schools, because they can't touch that. That is a private exercisation of your religious right. But, public schools is so entrenched in government funding that is government, and you have to keep those two separate. So I don't know what Dan Patrick was doing here. I saw that over the weekend and I was like, what? Huh? Weird. Okay. I don't have a lot on an update of Iran besides the fact that we are playing the game again. We are back on the roller coaster. War crimes and coffee. Hi, Oya. We're back on the roller coaster. If anybody saw, Iran, okay, let's go back a little bit. MOU was signed. Iran already was saying that Israel was violating the MOU, violating point 1 of the MOU by continuing to attack and have troops in Lebanon, right? That's what they said. But Rubio was assuring that they were going to work that out, sign some sort of deal that still allowed Israel to keep some troops there, but also allowed Lebanon their sovereignty. Iran kept saying, we're not fucking agreeing to this, but that's what was happening. Donald Trump, Rubio, Vance were making... Where's Hegseth been, by the way? But we're making the announcements that the unfrozen assets that were agreed upon, signed upon, and written in the MOU were going to specifically be that we controlled them, and it was going to be used to buy crops. That's all that Iran could use it for. They would have no control of the money. Iran came out and disputed that and said, absolutely not. That's not the deal. That's not what's happening. You're going to unfreeze our money. It's going to be up to us what we do with it. You are not in control of it. So we already had a dispute there. So you've got Israel, Lebanon, you've got the unfrozen asset money, and then you had inspectors, right? The Trump, Vance, Rubio were all saying that inspectors at some scheduled date, probably 2 weeks from now, were going to come in and inspect the nuclear sites. Iran disputed this and said, absolutely not. We have signed nothing or agreed to nothing in regards to that. So we already had these disputes going on, already happening, in way of the MOUs not working. Then Iran struck a cargo vessel. We covered that on Friday, that they struck a cargo vessel, effectually getting rid of the ceasefire as well. Over the weekend, but after stock market close, Over the weekend, the U.S. was striking back at Iran multiple times over the course of the weekend. And then what do you know? Sunday night, Monday rolls around right before stock market open. And the U.S. announces that U.S. and Iran are halting strikes and going to come up with a ceasefire again. So we're back on the roller coaster of market manipulation for the stock market. Love that for us so much. Very fun. But in way of Iran updates other than being on the roller coaster, I have a clip from Senator Marshall and then Levitt's making the rounds again. So this is Senator Marshall in a conversation with Meet the Press about the war being over, but also not over again at the same time. I feel like deja vu.
All right, let's start with the war in Iran. The war now...
I don't know why the audio is so terrible, and I apologize.
There has passed 120 days. Secretary Rubio testified that the war is over, yet overnight the U.S. launched new strikes inside Iran. If the U.S. is still bombing Iran 120 days into this conflict, how can the Trump administration credibly say the war is over?
Well, Ryan, look, I'm just going to stay focused on what my goals have been.
Michael, that's not what Iran said. You have to be very clear about that. Iran never said that Israel is violating everything simply because of its existence. Instead, it's violating what they signed in the MOU. I know it's so fuzzy. I'm sorry. They're violating the MOU in way of being in Lebanon. That's what they said.
All along, no nukes for Iran, no forever wars, bring the cost of gas and grocery down. The major war is over, and think of this as almost just a mop-up operation. We have to press them. If they strike us, we have to strike them back by 10. We're making great progress. To your point about Secretary Rubio, he just made a great landmark case over in Lebanon and Israel, getting those folks together. Look.
That didn't work, by the way. I don't know if this was before that, but Hezbollah said absolutely not. We're not accepting those terms, which again, I'm not in approval of Hezbollah doing that. But again, Israel is just sitting there with troops. So I know, I'm sorry.
Let's root for the Trump team for once rather than try to tear him down. So I think we're doing what we need to do.
I did. I said I would root for him to get the fuck out, but I'm not going to give him praise for it. I said that on fucking Friday. I said it on fucking Thursday. I said it on the previous fucking Friday when they signed the goddamn MOU. I have been saying this. I will cheer him on to get the fuck out of there because we don't need to be there. What I'm not going to do is clap him on the back and say he did a good job for trying to put out a fire that he started. That's what I wasn't going to do.
Making great progress here, and again, working toward those goals. No nukes for Iran, no forever wars, and let's keep bringing that cost of gas and groceries down back home.
But more to the principal question here, Senator.
So I just want you to hold on to the fact that he said the major war is over. This is a mop-up operation. I want you to hold on to that.
Is the war still going on? Can we credibly say that the war is over at this point?
Well, I don't think the war is over. I think
you just said just said the major war is over. This is a mop-up operation. You just fucking said that. You just fucking said that. Let's go.
Been all along. Well, Ryan, look, I'm just going to stay focused on what my goals have been all along. No nukes for Iran, no forever wars, bring the cost of gas and grocery down. The major war is over, and think of this as almost just a mop-up operation. We have to...
Okay.
At this point?
Well, I don't think the war is over. I think there is a detente going on right now that President Trump, for the first time ever, got Iran to sign a document that they will not develop any nuclear weapons in the future. That's great. And then he followed that up with they're going to sign a UN security resolution as well. We're making great progress. So America, I'm asking America to hang in there. This is a detente. This is a ceasefire. And yeah, they broke the ceasefire. We have to answer that as well. They only understand strength. We've destroyed their economy. We've destroyed their military. We're in a good spot right now.
Obviously not, because they were able to strike a cargo vessel. We obviously haven't done that. Again, they're just repeating those same fucking lies to you. But here is Levitt. Levitt is going to try to convince you all, because they're very easily convinced. As long as they say it, you'll believe it. They're going to convince you that Iran broke the ceasefire. Now, I think all parties kind of broke the ceasefire. I would say Iran broke it by striking a cargo vessel. Sure. But I would say this is just a failure of diplomacy on the U.S.'s part. It's just a failure of diplomacy. We want to try and control the situation and make it seem like a win when we really lost. And that's really all that it is.
What was happening with Iran.
Sure.
And we know that
oh yeah, I cannot.
Over the weekend, fire exchange, they're bombing our bases in Bahrain and Kuwait. We have responded because they tried to, and they attacked 2 merchant ships over the weekend. Now, can you give us the latest?
Sure. Well, I just spoke with the president about it. Iran has requested a meeting this week, so Special Envoy Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be flying to Doha for high-level meetings this week as we continue to discuss the memorandum.
Oh, yay! Happy Block the Straits month. Yes! Happy Pride. Yay! Steve Witkoff, who is an envoy, but Jared Kushner, who has no job within the government, no official job within the government, is going to be in charge of more talks that have worked out so well in the past. Yeah. Why isn't Marco Rubio, the motherfucking Secretary of State, doing this?
A memorandum of understanding on the sidelines of those high-level talks will be the technical talks. So as far as we're concerned, we're holding up our end of the ceasefire. Violence will be met with violence. As you mentioned, Brian, there were attacks on commercial vessels that the United States of America, directed by the president, responded to, and that will continue to happen, but we hope we don't see that. The president obviously wants to see the peace process play out, and the Iranians would be best to sign a good deal with the United States of America because the president has proven he's unafraid to use the might of our military. Look at Operation Midnight Hammer. Look at Operation Epic Fury.
Nobody missed her voice. Nobody.
Either way, though, the United States of America wins. If the peace process plays, this MOU can...
Cap, I know. And so the person you gave me... Shit, I meant to put that on my outline today. Hold on. While we're sitting here. The person you gave me, Wesley Clark, correct? That is who you gave me. So I... tried to look on Wesley Clark and Iran nuclear intelligence and what you're talking about. Let's see. Clark praised the military execution, but cautioned against assuming a knockout blow. He noted that intelligence reports regarding the success of such missions are often initially flawed and can only be verified by independent on-the-ground observation, which we haven't had. When discussing operations against Iran's Fordow nuclear facility, Clark has strongly encouraged strategic allied cooperation over simple unilateral bombing campaigns. That's according to CNBC interview. The one I previously read to you is according to News Nation. This was him in April, and he said he said Iran has the advantage over the U.S. in negotiations. So like I don't know why you're tying him to Witkoff as if that's a positive thing. I don't think that that's necessarily, I don't think that's necessarily the source that you think it is. I'm good. I mean, I try to remember and look up shit. I'm legitimate about that. I am going to let Caroline finish her words, but can I get huge, and I mean huge W's, to Oh My for the 3647. He said, Pete just removed rank insignias from chaplain uniforms. This is his work. Really? Why the fuck would you do that? Why can't the chaplains have their rank status listed? Why would he do that? I would think he would want to celebrate their rank, wouldn't he? That's weird. Clark knew for decades. So here's my thing, Cap. Clark knew for decades based off of what information? Based off of what intelligence?
Continues, gas prices will continue to tumble. We're seeing crude is lower than it was prior to the start of
by the way, it went down to like 68 and it's coming back up.
This excursion, as the president calls it, or if Iran chooses to be a bad actor, they'll prove themselves to be the pariah of the Middle East. They've totally alienated themselves from their Gulf and Arab partners in the region. And the United States of America has the best and strongest military in the world. The president retains the right to use it. But again, the memorandum of understanding will continue to be discussed. The ceasefire is in place, and we hope that we can get to a good deal. The president will sign one that puts our nation's interests first.
But I guess to be fair, Donald Trump did say a ceasefire in the Middle East just means you're shooting in more moderation. So I guess this counts. Hi,
Mia. Hello. I just want to let you know that now that this Caroline is back, y'all gotta like tap ferociously, because as you could see at the bottom of the screen, We have a confirm your sources before sharing. And that always happens when it's either her or Trump. And because, well, yeah. Make sure you're tapping, make sure you're liking and loving and interacting in the chat, sending little coin gifts, sending the big gifts, clearing out the gift gallery, showing the love that is deserved. If there is a dollar train that starts right now with everyone that's in here, we can go ahead and clear and exceed the goal. This is work. This is effort. This is a mother. And you want to make sure that, if you're so fucking pro-life, you better be clearing goals every fucking day because these are children. Okay? All right. That's it.
Love you.
Also, like I said in the comments, that baby took Caroline's fucking hair with it.
Look, I mean,
she should have kept taking her fucking prenatals.
Yeah, you got to take your prenatals. Your hair is just going to come out in droves. That's just how that works. I'm not excited.
Hey, Crayon, get out. Bye.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here? You can't be in here. You know better than that. All right. So I would like to get to my fraud ways. I have so much. I can't even tell y'all. I would like to get to my fraud, waste, and abuse section. And so to get into that, what I'm going to do, thank you, Eric. I appreciate that so much. I do try. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I headline Hoochie and I just write it down later and hope I can get to it. But you know what? I really, really do try. And this community is fantastic. I cannot do this alone. If I could tell you the amount that I get from Mia and Blue, the work that they do to give me things that I haven't been able to look up, I can't do it without them. Thank you for calling the stream. Can I get your age, state, and who you voted for?
My age is 36. I'm Mohammed. He, him.
Okay, I didn't ask that. So I asked your age. You said 26. What state did you vote in, and who did you vote for?
I did not vote for anyone.
Okay. What state are you in?
The number is from DC.
From DC?
Yes.
Okay. Why didn't you vote?
Because I think that democracy is kind of a scam. That's why.
Do you think democracy is kind of a scam?
Yes.
It
is only. Yes.
What system would you rather see in place then?
I would like to see a system which has intuition as well as intelligence, both aspects.
How would we vote? What would our voting system look like?
Voting system will be like the same. The technicalities will be the same, but the underlying reason why we want to vote will be different, totally different.
Sure, but I think that has to do with messaging, not the voting in and of itself. So that means you had an issue with messaging for why you didn't vote, which was what?
No, I'm saying the system behind behind this democracy is the issue.
What system is
the
that?
biggest issue. You don't have actual choice to choose your will, to apply your will.
Why not?
And because everything is rigged at the back end.
It's not.
Are you contesting for any elections right now?
Am I what? I'm sorry?
Are you contesting for any elections?
I'm not running. I voted on my ballot in the primaries.
Oh, any member from your family?
No.
Just from your extended family?
No, but I have worked with a campaign of a person who is running in the primaries. And so I've seen the endorsements he gets. I've seen how he has to run for donations, how he has to door knock and do grassroots efforts to get put on the ballot.
Yes.
There are stipulations. You have to get a certain number of signatures. So I don't understand what this system is that's behind that you're talking about. Unless you're talking about money, which I would agree with you.
Just money.
Sure. Okay. So then you should probably, I agree. So then you should probably vote for progressives who want to fight against Citizens United specifically.
They will also need money to win the elections. And
right, for now.
There are many. Yes, for now, yes.
Okay. So what I would advise you to do is to look into candidates, regardless of their political affiliation, who want to end Citizens United. I would have you look into that.
Why not just try to change the system or create a parallel system, and then
how do you change it?
By making people educated about it. Gen Z, and the people, the generation after Gen Z.
Cool. Let's say people. Yeah, cool. Let's say people are educated about it. Now, how do we change it?
We will have to have certain principles which are non-negotiable.
Right, but that's not going to change it. It has to be changed congressionally. The rules have to be changed. The people you vote for, your representatives, have to change for that system to change. So you would have to vote.
No, there are many other mechanisms, revolution, protests, and then many other ways also.
Oh, you would like to burn it to the ground and start over?
No, it can be peaceful protests, or it can be. There are many mechanisms which you can apply. You can try.
Yeah, that's also just democracy. The peaceful protests asking to end Citizens United lead to people who run for office who want to end Citizens United.
I think that is common sense. That is not democracy. We don't have to label it democracy. That is what I'm saying is very simple thing. It is a common sense.
I understand that. It is very simple. It's not going to change anything. That's just for you to make yourself feel better. But the system's not going to change around you.
Democracy is not going to change anything also. But it is just a system which you people are following just because you think that it is working. But in reality,
I never
it is
said
not
that.
working.
I never said that.
Yes.
To be clear, my stance is that I completely agree that you cannot vote yourself out of oppression. I firmly believe that. But seeing as it seems to be a tool that they are desperately trying to restrict and take away, I'm damn sure going to use it because they seem to be fucking terrified of it.
In order to make a progress in our discussion, let us first come to some common points. What is that you want to claim first? You think that democracy is the only mechanism?
No.
Is the only way?
No.
Okay, so this thing we both agree that democracy is one of the systems, and there can be other systems also thought about.
Sure, but I asked you that. I asked you what other systems you would want to see put in place, and what you gave me was what we already have.
I have a system in mind known as theotechcracy, where theotechcracy, Theo stands for theology, and tech stands for technology, and crazy can stand for self-rule. That we have to first agree upon the fact that there is one God.
No.
And the absolute morals and absolute ethics can only be derived by that one command, that one entity, that one God.
Absolutely not. See, but the thing is that I still like the values that are written into our Constitution, and so the fact that there is a separation of that, like I have no problem with people who want to, exercise their religion, but I just don't believe that it should be involved in our government. And specifically, you're trying to do that in way of a theotechnocracy. The last thing that I would want is for the tech billionaires to be in charge of anything in way of privatizing everything for the people.
We can try to use decentralized technologies also. Right now we have blockchain, we have decentralized hardware also. So it is not that only the billionaires. We have decentralized protocols also. So
they control. They take over all of that though. They become in charge of all of that because of the money that they have in the system to be able to do so.
Yeah, they are applying the same on the democracy also.
Sure, but however, the progressive candidates, not necessarily establishment Democrats, but there are progressive candidates who are willing to put stopgaps on that. There are even some that I would completely disagree with some things that they hold, but like Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican, has never taken big corpo PAC money. She's never done that. I think that's great. It's great that she's never done that. So they exist. They are out there.
Yes, just 1 in 100. Yes, they do exist.
Sure, but that's how you build. Sure, that's how you build, though.
we are not here talking about individuals or individual persons. We are talking here
No,
about
I
the
absolutely
system.
am, because that's how we get started. That's how we get started, is with an individual who stood up and decided that we were going to go in a different direction for the betterment of this country. That's how we get a lot of the things that we've done in this country, the progress we've done.
Individuals will come and go, but the philosophy, the architecture, the system is what we should be focusing more upon.
Yeah, I am. I'm
And we
focused
should
on that
stop
with the
this-
Constitution, not with putting God in front of everything.
I'm just proposing this thing. I'm not saying that this is the absolute system that you have to, the by force I have to apply on it. But we have to open this discussion that there are other systems also which can be put in place.
Yeah, but I'm not finding one where I'm not finding you explaining one to me that's going to be better for the people.
Okay. Let me try to explain to you. See, you must be aware about the Epstein files and how these elite class have certain agendas and certain kind of nexus where they are playing a game against which we have to have some universal agreed upon ethics and morals.
Sure.
That these things are way beyond the normal working of a human being. So these are some basic principles which we can agree upon. Am I right?
Yeah.
So we can start from those basic principles, and we can also understand how economy works. We know that the current system is totally dependent upon interest. Am I right?
Interest or capital?
Yes. Interest upon the capital. The when you take a mortgage, you have to pay little more interest on the capital amount.
Sure, but I would say the problem in and of itself is capital.
No, the problem is not capital. The problem is interest. And the problem is not sharing the risk. It is not putting your skin in the game. For example, if I am a poor guy, I don't have any money, and you have probably $100,000, and I am coming to you and I'm asking you that I want to start a business. So you can do some filtering, you can do some checks and balances that whether I am eligible for that kind of a loan, then you can lend me that $100,000. But upon that loan, there will be no condition that I have to pay interest. We can do a deal that when I invest that loan which I took from you, and when I started a business, we will be sharing the profit and we will be sharing the loss also. It is not that if I lose the game, you win. If I win the game, you win. So there should be skin in the game. But right now, what is happening?
I agree. But how do you? I agree. How do you put that system in place?
I told you just right now we are putting that system in place. We are talking to each other. We are educating
That's not.
each other.
That doesn't put the system. That doesn't put the system in place. That is you and I talking about. That is you and I dreaming about something without actually putting any footwork in to get it to happen. While they continue to just make money and make decisions over your head around you.
Yes, but you can understand that over a phone call, we cannot share each and every details for how you can change.
No, you have to have somebody. You have to have somebody willing to fight for that change, both outside the system and within the system. You don't just get to dream it and hope that it becomes. It is work. Requires work.
First, we should have some agreed upon principles, some agreed upon philosophy, some agreed upon architecture.
Sure. It sounds like I'm not doing that. It sounds like we do. We have agreed upon principles, but you can sit here. I can agree with you all I want to. That doesn't mean it's going to happen unless you start going to city council meetings, unless you run yourself, unless you start voting for the people who were in that meeting with you and agreed. You know? I would really like for the flock cameras to not be being installed in my area. So you know what I did? I paid attention to my city council meetings. Thank you, Blue. Theotechnocracy is a theoretical or fictional political framework merging a religious rule with expert scientifically driven governance. It marries spiritual dogma, belief, with algorithmic, engineering-focused efficiency, reason. It originated in sci-fi tabletop strategy and role-playing games. It's like using Scientology as the foundation of a government. The fact he keeps saying game makes this feel so unserious, right? It's not a game. It actually affects people's lives. Look, we had an entire system, we still do, an entire system of enslaving people in this country. And individuals were the ones who stood up to make that not happen anymore. Can I get W's to Michelle, which I have to accept your friend request? Yes. W's to Michelle for the $5. Thank you so much. She said, you said Purple Heart. So W's to Michelle, please. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Brings us down to 45, guys, as we keep working here today. Okay, let's keep working on that. Get that goal down. Dollar Train, $2 Train. I know we can do it. Let's see. Theotecracy, excuse me, not theotechnocracy. No, we're breaking it down. Theotechnocracy. What's the difference there? What would be the delineation, Shaba, if we're missing? Like basing your economy on railroad tycoon. I mean, isn't that what Elon Musk kind of did? All right, let's get to our fraud, waste, and abuse section. But we're going to do so by pissing y'all off first, because that's my favorite thing.
Look, it's not just his deliberate distortion and destruction of NATO and his choosing Putin as over American allies, or the fact that he's diminished our standing in the eyes of the world more than any president in history has. It's not just his vanity projects, tearing down the east wing of the White House, making room for his ballroom, putting his name on the Kennedy Center, building an arch in his own honor, even hiring his own pool guy to fix the reflecting pool. Whoa, what a loser.
Sorry, I just had to play that before we get to... Okay. Now let's get to fraud, waste, and abuse. Let's get to that. All right. So, we're going to go back in time a little bit. We're going to go back to Reflecting Pool and cover some more of this shit. This was a Trump truth that he had going on about it. In describing the vandalism that took place at the Reflecting Pool in Washington, D.C., ABC Fake News, one of the worst in the business, even paying me $16 million for past and inaccurate reporting, failed to report that their close friends, Democrats Obama and Biden, spent over $100 million on the Reflecting Pool. That's not true. And it never worked. In fact, well, maybe combined. In fact, it was rarely open due to leaks and stench. They wanted to spend $300 to $400 million, but just let it rot. I spent approximately $16 million. Wasn't it supposed to be like $8 million? And it came out great, except for the vandalism, which we are now fixing. It was also a much bigger job than originally envisioned, including the outer areas and sidewalks. We are preparing lawsuits against ABC for false reporting. I like their money, which will be given to the U.S. Treasury. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I would love to see that lawsuit come out, because Discovery is a bitch. By the way, guys, I totally did not have that on here. Shit, what was that? It was the... Let me find it. There's been so much, I can't cover it all. What do you want from me? That was the Daily Beast. I'm looking for... So he's suing the BBC. This total pivot. I apologize. We're pivoting. Do you guys remember he's suing the BBC? And the BBC was like, hey, bitch. Discovery is a motherfucker. Trump's lawyers are refusing to reveal financial information to BBC in defamation case. Donald Trump's legal team has rejected a request by the BBC to hand over financial information as part of his $10 billion defamation case against the broadcaster. The U.S. president's lawyers accuse the BBC of a fishing expedition, according to court filings, after the broadcaster's representatives asked for details to get evidence on Trump's claims he suffered reputational and financial damage because of a Panorama documentary centered on the U.S. Capitol riots. Trump accused the BBC of intentionally, maliciously, and deceptively doctoring a speech he gave on January 6th, 2021, before the unrest in Washington, which thousands marched on and broke into. So he's suing them about their coverage of January 6th. And BBC just came out. I have not seen, this is the denial. When was this? June 5th. But this is before what we're hearing now. They're like, hey, so give us your phone records and all conversations that you had on Jan 6, just to, prove that we were wrong in what we said. Discovery's a motherfucker, everybody. So that's going to be interesting to get into. Okay. Sorry, side note. So this was Donald Trump in regards to the coding. I just want you guys to remember, this was about a month ago. About a month ago, Donald Trump talked about the coding that they were putting on the pool, and how strong it was going to be. And this were his own words.
This will last for at least 50 years, and you'll never have a leak. It's very strong. You couldn't, if you had a knife.
Cap, no, like, was that, I don't think he won the ABC one. I think ABC settled. ABC News. I don't think he won. I think they settled. Yeah, they settled. That's not a win. That's not how that works. It wasn't a court-ordered win. It was, they settled.
This will last for at least 50 years, and you'll never have a leak. It's very strong. You couldn't, if you had a knife, I don't want to give anybody ideas. If you had a knife, you can't even cut it. So strong, so powerful. Powerful rubber. It is beautiful, sealed. And I looked at just one of the little pieces that they did to finish. It's like a piece of glass. Beautiful color, beautiful everything. You could never get anything like that.
Okay. So you cannot cut it. Sure. Same person, different month. But wait.
Are the contractors who did the initial work with the reflecting pool, are they to blame for the current condition, or is it the vandals?
We had vandalism. No, vandals. You know, we have I think 290, 300-foot slit right through it, probably a box cutter or a knife of some kind. Or we had people lifting up the basic, some of the, it's not a lot of damage, but we'll probably have to let the water out and refix it. They went in there with a knife. I was just told by the...
But I thought you couldn't do it with a knife. You just said you couldn't do it with a knife.
By the people over at Parks. They have 5 people are arrested and 5 people are under investigation right now.
I'm really interested for those cases to come up. To me, those are like the same as like looking at the Comey Seashells case. I think that's going to be very, very interesting to look into. Or maybe they just did a shitty job. Or maybe driving on the coding was a bad idea. Maybe that. By the way, he then did a different truth, changing his story from one long gash to multiple slashes. 6 people have been arrested and 7 people have been cited for the damage they did to our country's now beautiful reflecting pool. The 350-foot gash made by a very sharp knife or razors is actually numerous slashes over a very long 350-foot length. It was purposefully and criminally done, and somebody had to work very hard, probably in the dark of night, to create such a condition. Likewise, the small area at the bottom of the pool was cut and powerfully lifted off the surface, leaving very jagged, uneven edges. The large areas of grass are being replaced. In any event, even prior to fixing those areas, the reflecting pool is as beautiful as it can be. We will drain some of the water either immediately before or after the 4th of July to do the permanent repair. President Donald Trump. From what we've seen, they've just been pouring chemicals into that bitch. Doesn't the Beast weigh as much as the Semi? I don't know. I don't know what the weight is on that. That would be a good dive to find out of. So then this is Representative Pete Sessions. Again, glazing Trump, pretzeling, because this is what all of you guys do. Donald Trump said it, so I have to kind of repeat it, even though I have seen no evidence.
You're up on Capitol Hill. I don't know if you've had time to go down to the reflecting pool, but President Trump claims that he personally saw a 300-foot gash cut into the bottom of the reflecting pool and says there is evidence but will not release or has not released the evidence. Do you believe there's evidence of a 300-foot?
IDK, it's the knife has a special set of skills. You just don't know.
Cut at the bottom of the reflecting pool?
You know, I don't know. I would say that the president evidently has got it. I assume law enforcement has that. I assume this is against the law, and I assume somebody will follow up from the Park Service. The Park Police, I assume, have some responsibility in this. So I would ask the Park Police what they have and go that direction. The U.S. Attorney, who is in.
I think it did come out that the Park Police said that it was a cut. That according to their investigation, it was a cut. But again, and we'll get into, I would like to see that information because there is cameras 24/7 around this. So I would love to see somebody dived in there and cut it, or that they cut it before they filled it, or whatever their claim is. I just want to see the evidence. Again, I'm just asking questions. Where is this evidence?
Washington, D.C., Judge Pereira has...
Piro? What? Judge Pereira. Oh.
Would have that knowledge. So if the president won't tell you, I'm sure others will.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. He's made that claim. The evidence has not yet been released. What we do know is that the pool
Yeah,
is
but you
still...
accused me of being a John Lennon fan this morning, too. And I'm not going to say that's right or wrong, but
I have evidence, though.
Things can be verified. Oh, okay. Well, and I think you're right.
You quoted "Give Peace a Chance" on national television, so therefore you have some knowledge.
What in the white man is happening on my screen? Why are we talking about John Lennon?
Knowledge of Lennon and McCartney. So let's just leave it at that.
Congressman, I could hum the tune too.
I have one more question for you.
Okay, I don't know what that is. Is that what y'all talk about when you play golf and shit? Is that what y'all do? That was weird. That was weird. So Trump is asked specifically about how could somebody have vandalized it when there's literally National Guard all around the National Mall. And, he gets very mad about that because he can't help it. It was Scuba Steve. You're right. That's who did it.
National Guard and police have been all over the mall. How would these vandals have gotten so close to do something like that? Do you have any proof of this?
I mean, we didn't have a lot of them then. Who would think that somebody would go into a pool?
What do you mean you didn't have a lot of them then? You've had the fucking DC National Guard there for almost a year now. Like, you just keep, re-upping the 30 days so they can stay there. What are you talking about?
And take a knife and start cutting it.
But do you have proof of that?
We have proof.
Photos or videos?
Well, let's put it this way.
Yeah. No, yeah. They have proof. Yeah, totally. Totally happened. Why do you guys keep listening to this man? Why? I don't get it. Doopy, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing well today. Did you vote for Trump?
I did.
Okay, can I get your age for TikTok, please?
36.
And what state did you vote in?
Tennessee.
All right. Why are you still supporting Trump?
Well, just a quick question. Are you proud to be celebrating our 250th birthday of the greatest country that ever exists?
Proudly? Not necessarily
Yeah.
in this moment, no.
Well, why is that?
Because I'm not proud of what our administration is doing, but I would love for you to answer my question, which is why are you still supporting Trump?
Well, that 250 years predates Trump by a lot. So what about the country aren't
Why are
you
you
proud
still
of?
supporting Trump?
Well, he shares my views on abortion for the most part, yeah.
Does he?
He does.
Which are what?
Well, the action that he took was to overturn Roe v. Wade, not himself, obviously, but to get Roe overturned and to give the decision to the states to make on, how they want to handle abortion in their own states. Which I would have gone a little further had I been him, but it's a little.
Well, I just have never seen him have a solid stance on abortion. Really, I've seen it kind of waver and change. The only thing I have seen is that he was proud of his Supreme Court nominations that ended up in the Dobbs decision, but not his actual stance.
Well, we can agree that he's not for all 9-month abortions, right? We can pretty much agree on that.
Sure. I don't think he understands it, but sure.
What doesn't he understand?
I don't think he understands abortion, what it is, how it's characterized in the medical field.
Well, how is it characterized? I don't know what you mean.
It's the termination of a pregnancy.
Well, if it was just that, do you think you'd have tens of millions of Americans up in arms about just ending a pregnancy? Or
because tens of millions of Americans aren't always the smartest. They're not always educated.
Do you think that maybe they just have an issue with how immoral it is?
Oh, I don't care about that. I care about legal.
Really?
So my stance is that you can have an abortion all 9 months. However, the kind of abortion that you get has to change because I will grant moral consideration at about and about viability. It's going to be a case-by-case basis, obviously, with your doctor. So you can have any kind of abortion up until the moral consideration I grant you at about 24 weeks viability. And then you would have to have a C-section or birth to get rid of that child, but you could do that at any point.
Yeah, so the pro-lifers definitely agree with C-sections and, ending a pregnancy that way. And that's, we wouldn't categorize that as an abortion. We would just categorize that as a C-section, right?
Sure. Well, so medically, C-sections are not medically coded as abortion. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that is what I would grant. That is an abortion according to Harvard's definition, which is an appeal to definitions, but Harvard's definition, medical definition of abortion is a termination of a pregnancy, not necessarily of the life of a fetus. So,
great. Since we're just so we're not talking past each other, why don't we just call it what it is that I have an issue with, which is ending the life of a fetus in the womb.
Sure. Why should I grant it moral consideration before about 24 weeks?
Because it's a human being.
Oh. Do you support the death penalty?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you support unplugging brain dead people?
I don't actually.
Brain dead?
Correct. Yeah. It's a really touchy subject, honestly.
Okay. Why do you support capital punishment then? It's a life. It's a human life.
Well, the Bible does tell us that the punishment for taking a life would be to have your life taken from you. So I think in that sense, if we have certain crimes that are committed by certain individuals, and those individuals clearly do not possess the faculties or the moral compass to be able to coexist with us in everyday society. Those individuals, instead of taking up tax dollars, just speaking from the secular point of view real quick, taking up tax dollars, all that kind of nonsense, instead of being a burden on the system when they clearly can't even participate fairly with the rest of us, that just seems like a waste of money. But then from the more religious standpoint, I'd say, yeah, the punishment for taking a life is your life is taken from you.
Sure. I mean, you'd have to get into the nuance of the fact that they have appeals, and we have found people on death row who end up being not guilty of the crime they were convicted on. So I guess that's where that nuance relies. But so is your stance on abortion come from your belief in the Bible?
Mine does. The morality conversation does, certainly. The legal conversation, I can definitely argue from a secular point of view, since we don't use our religious beliefs to inform our, legal codes. So, what's moral and what's legal are two very different things. But I can certainly argue my position from a secular point of view.
Well, I would like to know, from the Bible, where they say anything negative about abortion.
Well, abortion didn't exist back then, so they wouldn't have had any. Yeah. So they didn't have the capability to take a forceps and insert it into the woman and dismember the child from a certain
and
point.
How many cases does that happen?
I'd say any more than one is too many.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, any more than one is too many, but how often is that happening? Correct. And in the cases that it is it happening by choice, or is that life of the mother?
Well, it's still one life, right? So even one life is too many.
So do you not grant exceptions?
I don't know.
So pro-life of you.
What's funny? Yeah, what's funny?
It's funny that you're pro-life, but even life of the mother, you would rather the mother die and the fetus most likely die also. But most abortions, over 90% of abortions are done with the pill, and that is before 13 weeks.
Sure, and the life of the mother argument, that one's such a just low tier and kind of really grasp at straw kind of argument, because again, the likelihood of that happening is like
Nevaeh Crane, Amber Thurman, all those women that died because of their lack of access to medical care.
No. She didn't die because she couldn't get a lethal abortion. She died because of the malpractice. Amber Thurman, the one you were just mentioning.
Oh, really?
She didn't die. Yeah.
And what was the malpractice?
Hold on 1 second. Could you give me a moment?
Sure. You guys, while we're sitting here, can you make sure that you guys are tapping that screen, please? We have 45 left in the goal, so let's make sure that we are working on that. We can $1 train, $2 train to get that going. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Just make sure we're doing all the good things, guys. Yeah, Ashby. Thank you, music, exactly that. Thank you, Blue, for this. Actually, I'll read it. Matthews 5:38-39, eye for eye. You have heard that it was said, eye for eye and tooth for tooth, but I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. Thank you. I do love the word of Jesus. I'm NH girl. The only reason I actually don't apply no uterus, no opinion is because they still vote without a uterus. So, unfortunately for us, that's how that works. But thank you guys for getting to 134,000 likes. I do appreciate it. While we were sitting here, and we have about 30 minutes, so I know that we can hit that 200,000 mark. I know you guys can do it. You're fantastic at being able to do so, so let's do that. We also have the rosas that we can complete, so let's make sure we are doing all of the things, guys. Doing all of the things to support your content creators, okay? I appreciate it. I know you are doing something. I'm going to disconnect you. I know you're doing something important. Just reconnect when you have time, because I would like to continue doing what I'm doing. Okay. So Trump is asked, and let's go back to fraud, waste, and abuse. Trump is asked, okay, about how the fact that the time increased for the time amount he was going to do the pool, and the cost increased on the amount of time he was going to do the pool. No, he didn't run. I don't think he was running. But right, exactly, Lynetta. You don't have a uterus. I guess you don't have an opinion. But why did the timeline for the pool increase, and why did the money increase as well? And of course, he's going to answer that because he answers questions.
Part of what's curious about this situation is we stood here with you in April when you first revealed the plans.
I said what?
In April, you showed us pictures of what you were going to do at the pool, and you said you had a guy who was going to do it in a week for about $1 million.
Well,
it's been 2 months for $16.5 million.
Yeah, okay, ready? Barack Hussein Obama, have you ever heard of him? He spent 2 years.
That answers the question. You said it was going to be done in a shorter amount of time for less money. It has now extended that time with more money, and your answer is?
And over $100 million on trying to fix it. You know what happened to it? Never even opened.
Right.
It's Obama can't answer a question. You just can't. And then Levitt, who unfortunately is back, this was the first time I saw her back, is going to talk about the fact that apparently Trump campaigned on this. I don't remember any speech where he talked about the reflecting pool.
But the algae is obviously the news of the day, and it is completely ridiculous.
Oh, why we're showing pictures of her kid.
It's unbelievable to see these people, these deranged leftists, in algae costumes with Team Algae on their backs. What does that even mean? Only the Democrats.
It means that they don't like you. That's really all it means. It's not that they want the reflecting pool to be disgusting. It just means that they don't like Trump. That's all that means.
Could hate beautifying our nation's capital and making it a symbol of pride again. But this is what the American people elected President Trump to do. He made this promise to them on the campaign trail. But
somebody find me that video. I would love to see where on the campaign trail he promised to upgrade the reflecting pool. I don't remember that personally. Could just be me. I might have missed it, but I don't think so. I don't think so. So then again, he keeps saying we have videos. We have videos. We have videos. Where are the videos of the vandalism?
Well, you mentioned yesterday that the Interior Department has video and photos. We reached out to them and they haven't shared it with us. Are you going to come tell them to release
They've arrested, I think, 6 people on the reflecting pool. So the reflecting pool looks fantastic. I just got pictures of it. It's beautiful. But somebody went in with a knife and cut it. They cut it up good. And then they cut a 350-foot slip in the form of lots of little slips, real horrible stuff, and they destroyed the grass. We put a brand new big load of grass out there. They destroyed.
Yeah, Chuck, I'm interested to see how the court cases go on that. I'm going to try and keep track of those as they come up.
Destroyed it, so it's all being fixed, but it's a shame. So I understand 5 or 6 people are arrested. The Interior Department can refer to you on that. And I hear they have 6 people under investigation.
Cool. So Burgum, he just threw you under the bus. You're up, Doug Burgum, Secretary of the Interior. Where are the videos? Are we ever going to get them? I don't know. I doubt it. But it pissed Thom Tillis off. Not that much doesn't piss Thom Tillis off lately. But Thom Tillis got really, really mad about it and a waste of our resources.
Freaking parallel universe that I just wake up in. You're telling me, even if it proves to be true, that damaging a lining in the reflecting pool is something that Puro wants to prosecute to the full extent of the law, if it's proven true. And yet they're releasing people who pled guilty to assaulting a police officer. Freaking.
Thom Tillis is so fucking fed up. He's so fucking fed up. I wish he grew this backbone before he decided to leave, but you know, I'll take it. He's so fucking done with them. Like, I have other clips of Tillis in other sections that we'll get to at some point, but you know, he's fucking fed the fuck up. So this was their, this was them fixing it. This is a clip we got of them. They had fenced around it, and then I don't know what we're doing. To be fair, I don't know what they're doing. Are they pouring chemicals into... I'm going to mute it so that I can keep it playing while I guess. Are they pouring chemicals into it? Are they filtering it? I know they finally put the bubblers in it, so that should help. But I don't know. I just would like to be transparent about what my tax money is doing in regards to the pool, because it's already been used in such a big fucking mess that I would just like to know as a taxpayer. That transparency. And then the last thing I have in fraud, waste, and abuse is this lovely, I have to get to it. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, that one can go away. What's this one? Yep, that one can go away. This one. It's New York Times reporting. Trump cut a $1 billion mining deal. His sons stand to profit. When Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick met with Kazakhstan's president at the St. Regis Hotel last September in New York, President Trump jumped in by phone as the men sealed a deal on a top priority for Washington. During the call, Mr. Trump and his team won an agreement from the Kazakh leader to give a little-known American company access to one of the world's largest untapped reserves of tungsten, a metal that the United States desperately needs for the production of missile warheads, fighter jets, computer chips, and other critical goods. Ahead of the deal, the Trump administration approved preliminary applications for as much as $1.6 billion in federal financing for the American company, now called Kaz Resources, which plans to break ground on the project in rural Kazakhstan. It was not only Mr. Trump and Mr. Lutnick who saw an opportunity. Their sons were soon doing business with partners in a deal that their fathers were negotiating, continuing a pattern of self-enrichment in the second Trump administration that has few precedents in American history. Within weeks of the St. Regis negotiations, investors with a firm called Dominary Securities, which is housed at Trump Tower in New York and partly owned by the president's 2 eldest sons, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, joined with other partners to take 20% stake in a corporate entity related to the Kazakhstan project. Around the same time, Cantor Fitzgerald, an investment company controlled by Mr. Lutnick's family and overseen by his sons Brandon and Kyle Lutnick, helped one of the lead investors working with Dominary on the Kazakh deal raise $210 million in new capital for a related entity. Such rounds of fundraising typically net Cantor millions of dollars in fees. The Kazakh deal, which was ultimately signed on November 6th, 6 days after the investment involving the Trump sons and their partners, which was not publicly disclosed at the time. The arrangement is hardly an outlier. One or both families have financial ties to at least 14 companies that are actively working with the federal government on critical mining deals, including the Kazakhstan project, according to federal filings examined by the New York Times. Not only this, we have talked about ones in way of... We talked about the drone company. Don Jr. Opened up a drone company. Never worked in that before. Started getting government contracts for drone companies. So you know, the fraud, the waste, abuse is just there. We looked at Trump's own stock trades that he signed off on and his bond trades that he signed off on. And we saw the amount of times that he invested in stock that he later praised, allowed deals to go through with and acknowledged so that that price went up, right? Just to make money for himself, his friends, his children. All 14 of these companies have either benefited directly from offers of financial assistance from Trump administration or have pending permit applications before the Commerce Department, which Mr. Lutnick oversees, the Times found. The total amount of federal funding that the Trump administration has provided or is considering providing to the companies exceeds $8.9 billion, according to public statements by the companies and federal government. See all the mining companies with ties to C for Cantor Fitzgerald or T for the Trump company. Cantor Fitzgerald, U.S. Rare Earth, approved to receive up to $1.3 billion in commerce loans and $277 million in direct federal funding to accelerate neodymium iron boron magnet production and potentially another $565 million for rare earths mine in Brazil, now held by a company it is acquiring. Cause Resources, which we just looked at, Perpetua Resources for Cantor Fitzgerald, approved for a $2.9 billion loan from the Export-Import Bank for a Central Idaho gold and antimony project. This emboldened mixing of federal policymaking and personal business began shortly after Mr. Trump returned to office last year when the Trump and Lutnick sons played a role in billions of dollars of cryptocurrency deals as the fathers helped set policies that supercharged the crypto industry. Why are you guys praising this? Daniel, Brian, why are you guys in the YouTube chat right now praising that? Who disconnected me? Did I disconnect myself? I don't remember doing that. Oh, thank you so much, Peter.
Oh my God, I have crabs.
Thank you for giving me crabs. I love when you do that. Capitalism. How's that benefiting the American people for him to make that much money? What's the actual name of Obamacare, Brian? But that was a great pivot. Love that.
Obama.
How is this affecting the American people by them making this much money? What is the good thing? I open a drone company. Sure. Antimony, thank you. Now the family's ethically tangled pursuit of profits is extending to the new arms race for critical minerals. These kinds of deals are a warning sign, said Representative Maxine Dexter of Oregon, the top Democrat on the House panel that investigates accusations of wrongdoing in the mining industry. Congress needs to make sure that taxpayer dollars are being used in the public's interest and not to benefit family members or those closely tied with the Trump administration. The White House and the Commerce Department in separate statements rejected any suggestion that the Trump administration was improperly mixing actions with family business. The only special interest guiding the Trump administration's decision making is the best interest of the American people. Kush Desai, a White House spokesman, said in a statement to the Times, securing and reshoring America's critical supply chains had been a top priority for President Trump and Secretary Lutnick, along with the rest of the administration, continue to take historic action to safeguard Americans' national and economic security. So Trump, Lutnick, the U.S. government is considering providing as much as $1.6 billion in financing for Kazakh mining deal, Cause Resources. Here's the family ties. Again, they are investors in Dominary Securities, and then you have Lutnick's sons in charge of Cantor Fitzgerald. At the center of the Kazakhstan deal is an Australian-born rabbi named Pinay Althus, who moved to the United States years ago and set his sights on critical minerals. Mr. Althus is the executive chairman of Cause Resources and the related company that will mine the Kazakh tungsten deposit, and he remains a shareholder in another critical minerals firm he founded that secured up to $1.6 billion in Commerce Secretary financing this month. He has proved to be a savvy player, soliciting and receiving direct support from top-level federal officials, including Mr. Lutnick, in his efforts to secure deals. Like that, I just don't see. I just want the drones to work. Sure, but I don't want. It is hurting you. It is hurting you because it is a complete betrayal of his campaign promise to you, which is that he was going to drain the swamp. He said he was going to drain the swamp. He was going to get rid of people making profit off of the government while they worked in it. That's what he said he was going to do. But you don't care because you just continue to glaze Trump's taint, even though it's not doing anything for you. Okay. Go up. Let's see. Got about 12 minutes, guys. 12 minutes. We're at 145,000 likes, which means you better start working because I know you can hit that 200,000. So let's keep working. Make sure you're tapping that screen to get to 200,000. I would appreciate it, guys. There is 45 left of my goal. What are we doing? I get it. It's Monday. I understand that. Totally get it. There are men on. I also get it. But can we please work on completing my goal, 45? I know we can dollar train and $2 train and get that knocked out. This is my labor that I do. Again, I don't know how many times I have to show you all this, that we don't get through anywhere near what I bring up for you, okay? I had 14 pages worth of shit that we can't ever get to because it takes time. And I am willing to do that time. I have no problem with doing that, but then you damn sure need to be paying me for the labor that I do to put into it, okay? I would like to go to this. I think I can do this economy section and then we can get out of here. So this is Russell Vought. Russell Vought wrote the OMB section in Project 2025. Okay? Guess what he got appointed to be? In charge of the OMB. So the Office of Management Budget. He is in charge, relatively in charge of our budget. Congress approves it. He has to effectuate it, him and the Treasury. And he's been doing everything in his power to change that and to offer up budgets that propose cuts, like we saw with the big, beautiful bill or the big, ugly bill. The bill that was so unpopular, they have now tried to rename it as the Working Families Tax Cut Act, which is not the name of it. That's not what it's called. So this is Russell Vought. And again, wrote for that Project 2025 that Donald Trump had absolutely no clue about. I do have stuff on the SAVE Act, Daniel. I'm not going to be able to get to that today. I talked about it last week. If you would like to go back and watch, did I do it Friday, guys? I think I did it on Friday. If you would like to go back to my video on Friday, I did talk about elections, and we have more that we're going to talk about in way of elections, and we will talk about that maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. TikTok's also very picky about allowing me to talk about it. It's a pain in the ass. But remember, Donald Trump had no clue about Project 2025, but he only appointed 2 or 3 separate people who were involved in it. And he is talking about kicking Americans off of Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP once again.
This was welfare reform. This was work requirements in Medicaid and food stamps.
We already had that.
Previously, what work requirements was in a small program.
No, Daniel, I do not. I'll give you a quick lowdown. Daniel, I do not support the SAVE Act in its current iteration. Absolutely the fuck not, I don't. I think that it will disenfranchise and suppress voters. I don't think that this helps create confidence or secure our elections. I don't think it does that at all. I think that it suppresses voters, and actually more likely it will suppress and disenfranchise rural conservative voters more so than it will the Democratic voters he specifically wants to go after. But do I believe that we can do some piece of legislation to allow for voter ID? Absolutely. My issue is that as long as you are making it where you are, I don't care if it's an application where you're saying it is specifically for voter ID, and so here's your documentation to prove your citizenship, whatever you need, your passport, your birth certificate, whatever is required under that law needs to be free to get that voter ID, because I do not believe in poll tax because Constitution. So, I don't have a problem with a photo ID. That's not what the SAVE Act is. If you read it, that is not what the SAVE Act is.
Program called TANF, cash payments for welfare.
Daniel, illegals weren't on Medicaid, so he couldn't remove them because they weren't there.
For major reforms that have put us in a major, it's the end of fiscal futility, and now we can start to do this every single year. So when we put forward ideas, a new budget, we have the opportunity to convince the American people that we're serious and we're going to continue the effort. And you got to do what you can do. 3-seat majority, to have accomplished that with a 3-seat majority is quite stunning.
It is.
And so we're going to continue to do it, and we have our latest budget up there with a 10% cut, and we're hard after it trying to get those things.
So they're going to cut it more. The big, beautiful bill apparently didn't cut it enough for them. They're going to cut it more.
Secured, and what I'm seeing in the appropriations bills is Congress is actually for the first time cutting programs I never thought I would see the day in which they would actually come alongside of us.
Well, that's because you have an entirely whipped Congress full of feckless people. Real quick, I just want to address that somebody brought up Pelosi. Brian, you brought up Pelosi. Go get her. I don't know how many times I have said this on my fucking platform. If there is evidence of her doing insider trading, go get her. I would prefer if the cabinet, the president, and all of Congress didn't trade stocks at all. I would much prefer if that was a law that they could not trade stocks at all, because they effectuate the stock price with the things that they do in their job. I would much prefer to see that. Why is the Republican-led bill for that not being put onto the floor? Oh, Mike Johnson said because we have to be able to feed our families. So we have to be able to stock trade. So take it up with them. Take it up with the DOJ, who's not going after Pelosi. Where's the evidence? Go get her. I don't give a fuck about that bitch. I don't care. Like, I really, really, really don't care. Go get her. They don't. Take it up with them, not with me. But go get Trump, too. Okay. So we're back to Senator Marshall. And he's being asked if Trump broke his promise on housing and affordability by not signing this bill. Now, remember, from what I've seen, I believe Mike Johnson delivered it to his desk. I don't know if we're going to have the full 10 days because they are going to go on break here soon for the July 4th holiday. So I don't know if we'll hit the 10 days beforehand. It'll probably be after they come back. And then that housing bill will go into law regardless of what he says, but he didn't veto it. But is he breaking his promise by torpedoing this bipartisan housing bill meant to help the American people? Pelosi is not tarnishing the party. She's not even involved in the party anymore.
Mentioned affordability as a backdrop to the war.
Also not my party.
In the situation there. And this week, the housing bill that was passed by a bipartisan measure in both.
It's fuzzy again. I don't know what's wrong with their mics.
The House and Senate is currently stalled, and that's because President Trump has refused to sign it. I want to show you what White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt posted about the Housing Act. She said it was, quote, one of the most significant pieces of housing affordability legislation in American history. She added, promises made, promises kept.
This was obviously before she had to, like, switch her position because Donald Trump said absolutely not.
But within hours of that post...
I'm sure there are some G3 because, I mean, there are states that don't allow for what, like, my state allows for. So, but most of them, even if they're registered with the Democratic Party, a lot of them are not, like, establishment Democrats in my community. Most of us are not. I'm a registered independent.
President Trump canceled the bill signing, saying that it was just of minor importance. Did President Trump break his promise when it comes to housing and affordability?
Strawberry, yes, you can. You can absolutely legislate cheaper housing. You legislate it by allowing grants to go out for building homes and building low-income homes for people in particular, and also restricting corporations' ability to buy up single-family homes. You absolutely can affect the market that way.
Look, this is a long book right now. I'm concerned about the cost of living right now under Joe Biden. We saw the cost of housing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What about Biden?
That's not what he asked you.
Healthcare, childcare, all go up 50%, and we're still reeling from that. But we're getting back in the game again. That America is truly back. That real wages are outpacing inflation right now.
I'm sorry. What was that?
But we're getting back in the game again. That America is truly back. That real wages are outpacing inflation right now.
I believe he calls him out on this, but I'm going to call him out on it. No, the fuck they're not. Inflation is at 4.2%. Real wages were at 3.4%. What's the differential on that? I'm not good at math, and I can do it 0.8%.
Housing is part of the puzzle, but this is classic Donald Trump negotiation style. He's going to...
It's not. It's extortion. He is saying that I'm going to take a bipartisan bill that both sides came across the aisle and worked out that would benefit the American people, and I'm going to hold it up because I'm not getting what I want with the SAVE Act, which is, again, dead on arrival in Congress. I guess we have to do this again and again, a fourth time, a fifth time, because he's not getting it through his head that you don't have the votes. Again, you don't have the votes. Where is that? I know we have it here. Where is it? You don't have the votes. You don't have the votes. Ha 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 ha. That's it. That's all.
Grab every leverage point he can, and this is one to get the bigger priority to cross the finish line, and that's election.
That's not a deal. That's extortion.
Integrity.
But Senator, we'll get to the SAVE Act in a second. First of all, we should point out that at this point, wages are not outpacing inflation. That's not correct. But...
By the way, that was a lie. You just lied.
If you insist that the housing crisis is of an imminent crisis and need, why wouldn't the president just sign this bill and push that along? Why is it necessary to hold that process up?
Well, Ryan, again, to push back, I think real wages are up since President Trump became president. We do have a little blip going on right now, but as the gasoline price...
Oh, it's a blip. Oh, okay. Oh, so now you're changing what you said. That real wages are up. Okay. But that we have a blip because of inflation. For a war he started, we didn't need to be in.
Prices come down, inflation's going to come down, and wages will get back up. You can't look at just 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. You have to look at the bigger deal right now. Look, we can do both.
Okay. Sure. You can't look at 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. 1 month. I never want to hear about June 2022 9.1% inflation ever the fuck again then. You heard it. from your own people, and you listen to them because you have no critical thinking skills and you just listen to your people. So listen to Senator Roger Marshall. I never want to hear about June 2022 ever the fuck again. Ever.
We can have,
because it was a blip.
People show voter IDs and pass the housing bill, and or actually have the president sign the housing bill. We can have both.
Mentioned.
Oh yeah, because they already passed it. He said we can have them pass it. They already passed it, so we don't need to pass it again. Can I get huge W's for Omi Oh My? And Omi Oh My should not have to take on this much burden, and I appreciate that you do. Thank you so much. But you guys should be taking up that burden too. You guys know what you're supposed to do here. W's though, huge W's for the $20. Get her is like a huge part of this stream's meta. I thought, right? Like I don't. It's honestly, I could put it on a t-shirt, especially about fucking Pelosi, right? Like especially about Pelosi, I could put it on a fucking t-shirt. Go get her. I don't. Nobody here is defending that bitch. You guys keep bringing her up. I think it gets your guys' engines going. It doesn't get my engine going. The only thing that I really liked from Pelosi is when she stood over him and went like this and this clap. That's really the only thing that I like that she did. I could give a fuck. But she is also a monumental historic figure. That was when we had true bipartisanship with Bush introducing her as Speaker of the House. And you guys can just cry about that all you want to because you hate women. But that's not my business. I don't care. Okay. I don't need that anymore either. This is my last piece, and then we will get out of here. This is my last little thing for economy today. I just, it just feels good. It just feels good. Ford rehires human engineers after AI fails to match quality checks. Who could have seen it coming? Who could have seen it coming? Where's those AI regulations we've been asking for? Where is it? I would love to see. Love to see it. Thank you, Speed Racer, for coming in here. I appreciate that. Ford says it has hired back some human engineers after AI failed to match their skills and experience. In a bid to reap the benefits of the tech, which developers claim can cut cost and boost productivity, the U.S. car maker adopted it across some parts of its operations, including for quality checks. But according to Bloomberg, its executive said the firm has rehired more than 300 veteran quality inspectors in recent years to make up for the pitfalls of automated systems. Quote, artificial intelligence is a fantastic tool, but it's only as good as the information you use to train it, Charles Poon, vice president of vehicle hardware engineering, told reporters. Over prior years, we didn't pay as much attention as we should have to the experience of our most knowledgeable engineers that have been with us through many product cycles. The U.S. automaker is among many to have seized on the buzz around AI, particularly amid Wall Street fervor about the tech's potential to increase margins. AI will leave a lot of white-collar people behind, Ford boss Jim Farley said in an interview with author Walter Isaacson last June. In an October earnings call, Chief Operating Officer Gumar Galhotra said the firm was deploying AI across the entire industrial system. This includes rolling out 900 AI-powered cameras in its plants to detect quality issues at the source and help us mitigate supply disruptions. But Poon told reporters on Wednesday the firm's AI-driven checks had failed to live up to expectations. I wonder how much they spent on that. Mistakenly, we thought that by just introducing artificial intelligence and ingesting the design requirements that we had, that would produce a high-quality product. Poon reportedly pointed to automated tools lacking the training and expertise of veteran technicians, many of whom he said had left the company before their knowledge could be used to improve its tech. He said these human workers had been reintroduced to train up its systems as well as mentor younger workers. We recognized that for us to enhance some of our automation and machine learning and artificial intelligence tools, we needed to ensure that they were trained by the most experienced individuals, he said per Bloomberg. Ford's admission of its AI failings came as it lauded its return to the top of an index used as an industry benchmark to measure vehicle quality. It said it was the #1 mainstream automaker in the U.S. J.D. Power Initial Quality Study, a ranking it has not held since 2010. In a press release marking the news, the company said reaching best-in-class quality requirement a significant talent refresh. This involved replacing senior leaders across engineering, supply chain, and manufacturing, it said, as well as hiring the roughly 300 veteran engineers who carry the hard-earned wisdom of decades of design. I know that those people that you rehired walked in there like, we fucking told y'all. We fucking told y'all. Another loss for the iRobots. Another loss. That's why we need regulation. I'm not saying we have to get rid of it altogether. I think that would be silly. You're not going to. Once you've opened, you can't put the cap on the tube of toothpaste, right? I believe that. But that's why you need regulation. So the fact that Congress is sitting here and trying to block any kind of regulation from the state's perspective for 2 years is insanity to me. There needs to be regulation on AI and its uses. There needs to be regulation on the building of the data centers and the requirements and the regulations in regards to that and what it is doing to the communities. We've talked a little bit about that. I played you a More Perfect Union clip about that. And it's just definitely something we need to look at. If you haven't looked at Mark Cuban's words on the data centers, by the way, you should, because absolutely the fuck not. This is why I said when we talk about eat the rich, we mean all of them. We absolutely mean every single fucking one of you. Because what the fuck? Yeah, Pandora does not go back in the box. All right. Before we get out of here, let's do a funny, shall we? Peabody, thank you for this particular clip. I had seen this over the weekend. It was pretty funny. So Fox News is very, very mad at Thomas Massie, and they're very, very mad at Lauren Boebert. Not for the right reasons, as I sit here, and I don't like them because of some of their stances, but they're mad at them for the wrong reasons. The reason they're mad at them is because Thomas Massie and Lauren Boebert voted against Donald Trump in regards to the Epstein File Transparency Act. They signed that discharge petition and got it put on the floor for a vote. It got voted on and he had to sign it under the cover of darkness. We need AI to get to UBI. As long as those two things are in tandem, Ruben, then I would be fine, but they're never in tandem, are they? No, they're not. Hi, Sandwich. Bye, Sandwich. So they're mad at Thomas Massie for introducing the discharge petition and signing it. They're mad at Lauren Boebert for signing it, hence why they have restricted money that was passed under Congress for a water project, a clean water project in her section of Colorado here. That's disappointing. I don't even like that bitch. She gives handies in family-friendly Ellie Calkins Opera House where they were playing Beetlejuice. Don't like her. But you know what? Here it is. So because he's mad at them and because Fox News has to glaze Trump's taint because they're mad at them, they have been going with this rumor, which I guess they didn't learn their lesson about incorrect and maliciously incorrect news from their Dominion lawsuit. I guess they didn't learn from the $80 million they paid before. They're going to do it again. They're going after Thomas Massie and Jamie. You've never heard this? So Lauren Boebert went to a musical in Colorado, Beetlejuice, when it was premiering. Right? Or when it was touring. Okay? It came to Colorado. She went with her boyfriend, not her husband. Okay. She went in a very tacky gold dress. Let me see if I can find her. She was vaping inside of the theater house and also rubbing his pant through the pants. Okay? Rubbing on him through his pants. Beetlejuice and any show, really, are family-friendly shows. She was doing that. And, let's see if I can find her gold dress from Beetlejuice. And she was kicked out of the theater. And she had a hissy fit in the hallway being kicked out of the theater. Really, really fun stuff. Let me see if I can. Yeah. Here, I'll show you. I can't believe you guys haven't heard about this. Representative Lauren Boebert was escorted out of Beetlejuice. Now she's sharing theater etiquette lessons. Representative Lauren Boebert. God, there's so much fucking shit up here. Okay. Representative Lauren Boebert, the Republican firebrand from Colorado, found herself in the spotlight for reasons other than politics when she was escorted out of Denver Theater during a weekend performance of the musical Beetlejuice. What happened? The event occurred on Sunday, September 12th at the Buell, not the Ellie Calkins, the Buell. According to an incident obtained by Yahoo News, theater staff received 3 different complaints from audience members at Boebert and a male companion, identified by the Daily Mail as Quinn Gallagher, co-owner of a bar in Aspen, were vaping, singing, and causing a disturbance by taking photos and videos from their seats throughout their performance. Here's Kyle Clark. We do love Kyle Clark.
Boebert. Say it 3 times and she appears in security video from a weekend performance of Beetlejuice, where the congresswoman was kicked out of the theater for being disruptive. The DCPA says she was vaping. Boebert's team denied that, said the haze was from fog machines in the show. That claim goes up in smoke when you see the video. The pregnant woman sitting behind Boebert told the Denver Post she asked her to stop vaping, and Boebert refused. Her one-woman show continued, taking flash photos, raising her hands and dancing, often the only one clapping or standing up in the crowd. Boebert occasionally took a break from being disruptive to enjoy the company of her male companion. He briefly had a grasp on the situation before ushers returned and told Boebert she had to leave. The theater's incident report says Boebert pulled the "Don't you know who I am" card on the way out, giving theater employees the single-finger salute.
I'm surprised you guys didn't know about this. Maybe that's just a Colorado thing. But anyway, what? Would you want to make jokes about it? Okay, and then I'll show my video after and get out.
Oh, y'all thought y'all was gonna show me that and not let me fucking make jokes about that shit? First of all, you Beetlejuice, the musical, and that's where you decide to give a handy, a wristy.
Right. That one of all the shows?
Is nothing sacred anymore?
Mm-mm.
Like
he grabbed her breast in the like. It's not a
it's
concert.
dark, but it ain't that dark up in there.
No, not at musicals. There's a lot of fucking theater lights. Absolutely not.
And vaping in front of a pregnant woman? Do you know I don't even vape in my office anymore because one of my soldiers is pregnant?
Right. Just, respect.
Y'all couldn't get a hotel room?
Oh, God. Let me pray for her. Is crazy,
And
Brian.
she probably just had to use her index and her thumb to like give a wristy. So it's probably just a fingering. But that's sick. That is sick.
Yep, and then she pulled
Children were there.
Yep, and she pulled the classic "Do you know who I am?" and then flipped off the staff.
An entitled, selfish, lazy, incompetent white woman. Yeah, I know exactly who you are. I see a lot of those.
Definitely do. We definitely fucking do. Okay, so I am. Oh God, no, you're not allowed here. Go away.
One more comment. Because Pumpkin in the chat brought it up. Thanks, Eli. So you guys are worried about who uses what bathroom, but y'all not worried about one of these motherfuckers giving a fingering to a man in public. Y'all are worried about who identifies as who and what bathroom and what they genitals look like and who they sleep with, but y'all not worried about her.
By the way,
fingerling.
Her child had a child as a teenager, and she has currently had most of the custody of said grandchild because her child keeps getting arrested. So great, just, positive things for our children to see.
Seymour, don't you ever fucking talk about Beetlejuice like that. Beetlejuice is a sacred Halloween tradition. Don't you ever in your life talk about Beetlejuice like that.
I'm gonna have to remove you as a mod. Husband. Right, what are you doing? Exactly. What are you doing here?
You're banned. I paid $200.
There we go. We'll just do that.
Oh, and fantastic job on the lights, guys. And Monty's gift gallery being filled up. Really appreciate it. I do want to see her get some of these community fests and these match manias, just so she can participate in those things, because those are really good things for creators to participate in. So if you guys could do that, and also subscribe on the Tubes, Twitch, or which?
I call them all the names. I don't care.
Oh, subscribe on the Tube, Witch, and join the Discord. Subscribe so you can get access to Discord. We be doing wild shit up in there.
We do. This is true. Okay, so I'm gonna play this last video, and we will get out of here so I can feed my children. So handy dandy Boebert, however handy she is, did vote against Donald Trump in the Epstein Transparency Act. So what Fox is doing is that they have been running the story for a few months now. They are running a story that Thomas Massie is having an affair with Lauren Boebert. There's been no evidence of this. I will say I have seen no evidence of this, and until there is, because we have seen that she's obviously very open about her affairs. So, you know, until I see evidence of this, I don't know what Fox is doing. I guess they would like another defamation suit. I don't know. But Thomas Massie was confronted again about supposedly having an affair with Lauren Boebert, and he turns it around on the reporter, and it's actually pretty hilarious. Jerry.
To clear up the stuff your ex is saying about you with the NDA, that you pressured her to sign an NDA for wrongful termination. What is that true? What's she saying about you?
Who are you with?
With Fox Digital.
It's all false.
And what she said about you and Boebert having an intimate relationship?
It's all false.
Why do you think she's out there saying it? Was it because of the primary, ahead of the primary? What do you think is motivating it?
When did you all become a tabloid? Seriously, dude.
Well, no, I just thought I would give you a chance to respond because you've never been able to tell your side of the story, that's all. But anything you could say.
So let me ask you. I heard that you like gay porn. Is that true?
Gosh, man, I just want to give you a chance.
He said, because that's it. It's tabloid questions. There's no proof of this shit.
Is that true?
Gosh, man, I just want to give you a chance. Your side.
I'm giving you a chance to give me your side.
I'm not going to get into
Are you a real news organization or not? No, come back, man.
Oh, no.
All you got to say is you don't like it.
Why are you running
But you
away?
haven't been to those websites.
Of course I don't like it.
Really?
Of course I don't like it. I don't like those websites. I would never.
But thank you.
That's not what I heard.
Thank you for your time. Yeah, that was my question. Just giving you a chance to respond, that's all.
And you're with Fox?
But thank you.
Is that a real news organization?
Yep.
Is this what you do for a living, man?
Congressman, we're good. Thank you.
The way he ran away. Oh, God, that was great. I loved it so much. Oh, that fueled me over the weekend. I was so happy with that. It was so funny. Thank you, Peabody, for reminding me so that I could bring that up for our funny to get us out of here, because that was hilarious. Oh, God. I don't even like Thomas Massie, but that was hilarious. It truly, truly, truly was. Thank you, Peter, for going off on the match. What is it? Matchmania? Matchmania. I don't know what it is. Am I supposed to sign up for that? Or is it just work? I'll look. I'll ask Audrey. She's my boss. She knows these things. Speaking of my boss, Audrey, and knowing things, guys, deep dive tonight. So if you are not following Audrey, what the fuck are you doing? So you need to be following Mermaid Ari over here on TikTok. And if you are on YouTube and Twitch, you need to be following as well over there. That is Mermaid Ari 0 over on YouTube and Twitch. Make sure that you are following. I will be there. Oya will be there. As far as I know, Queen and Mia will both be there. We are going to go into our deep dive tonight. It's going to be probably an infuriating fun one. It's going to be fun, but it's going to be infuriating. So, guys, make sure you are there. That is going to be at, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific. Okay? That is the time that we are going to do that deep dive tonight. So make sure, based off of whatever time zone you're in, because time zones are woke, 6 p.m. real time zone. Look, I'm in mountain time, okay? We don't live in reality. That you join in on that, okay, on Ari's platform, over here on TikTok, over there on YouTube, Mermaid Ari 0, and Mermaid Ari 0 over on Twitch. Please make sure you guys are doing that, because we have not been getting as much traction on the deep dives as we have for other things, and I really would like to see you guys in there supporting, okay? So I would like to see you guys there tonight. Please come in and support. I would appreciate it. Robbie, I did go over the Supreme Court decisions right at the start of the show this morning, and my heart is in my ass for tomorrow. I still think we'll be okay. I think based off of the textual decisions that we have gotten from the Supreme Court thus far, I don't see this going in his favor. The question is going to be against him 6-3 or against him 6-2 or against him 5-4. I don't know, but I do not see him. It's been a good day. It was a good day, Robbie. But I don't see it going well for him. I did want to bring up what time is the deep dive. So 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific. Okay. I want to prepare everybody though for opinions tomorrow. What I will say, and I'm just predicting this based off the oral arguments and based off of previous precedent. And honestly, one of the cases that it would make sense. But what about Japan? I don't know, Oya. The two cases involving transgender athletes, we are most likely going to lose. I just want you guys to be prepared for that tomorrow. If you listen to the oral arguments, and specifically because one of the two cases, the case itself, who the defendant was in the case, or I guess the plaintiff, right? Who was suing had retracted their suit. They did not want to sue anymore. So the fact that is, that it was still going all the way to the Supreme Court after the fact, I just think is going to rule against it. I don't see that case going in our favor. I just wanted to let you guys know. But birthright citizenship, I do, but it doesn't mean that I won't be anxious all fucking night, and I'm gonna. Which site tonight? On all, for the deep dive, all the platforms. So if you're in my Discord, or if you're not in my Discord, I have the Discord link in the link tree in my bio. Okay, you usually have to paste it into a browser, to get it. Okay, to get it to work. Join my Discord. You need to, once you go to join my Discord, you need to go to verify account and fill out a ticket. Me and my mods are pretty good about getting that done relatively quickly to get you verified to be in there, whether that is a verified role or a probationary role, whichever one. I will post the links when I go live to Ari's links for YouTube and Twitch at the least. A lot of the times I miss TikTok. I'll try to remember TikTok. So when you will see me there when we are live, I usually post those links, okay? So maybe make sure you join the Discord to get that information. Guys, now they ain't, I'm a mod and I've been ignoring y'all's tickets. Well, me and Justin handle it. Justin has been going off on the tickets. Me and Justin handle them for the most part. Like I said, if you don't want to do tickets, don't do tickets. I have no problem doing this. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your support. Thank you guys for getting me to 185,000 likes. I appreciate it, especially with the people that we had left. I know that it seemed like people dispersed. I don't know where y'all went, but I'll find you. And thank you so much. Thank you, Peter, for giving me crabs. Thank you, Peter, for the 100 Match Mania, whatever they're called. I have to look into that. I'm not sure what that is. DF25, thank you. I love you. By the way, DF25, I did get your donation from the other day. I completely missed it, and I don't know if it came late after I was not live anymore. I don't know what happened, but I apologize for not seeing that, and I did see it, and thank you so much. All right. Take care, guys. I will be back tomorrow. Oh, I'm not actually a mod. Oh, you're not a mod in that space, are you? Take care of yourselves, please. You guys, I will see you tonight. If not, I will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, whatever time that is for you. I appreciate you guys being here. Who is live? Yes, confirm. I need leave. Who is live that we can raid? Oh my god, my stomach is gonna start going off. I'm hungry. What is? Ooh. Okay. Queen is live. Oh, is Mia going live? Or are you just saying that and you don't mean it? Is Mia actually going live, or are we going to go raid Queen? Maybe. She said she was. She did say it. This is true. YouTube and Twitch. I will see you guys tomorrow, okay?